In the NBA, Thursday, Cleveland won their 12th straight home game. They also snapped Chicago's 7-game win streak with a 115-112 decision. The Knicks handed Boston their second straight loss, 102-93. DeMar DeRozan, 45 points, leading Toronto past Philadelphia.
All right, guys.
I'm sending it to your guest list here. Yep.
Anybody right out the gate?
No,
San Antonio,
not till the Graphs first at 10:45.
Okay.
Pointer lifted
So
Phoenix.
Did they win yesterday?
97-95.
They tried to choke, and then they
tried to choke.
No, but this is like
28-3.
Todd having a nervous
Ralph.
breakdown about the Saints Falcons.
Got any music lovers?
All right, 4 minutes. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Get them the perfect gift in less than a minute. Quello Concerts. With Quello, they can watch thousands of the best concerts and music documentaries on a smart TV, like a Roku TV, or on the go. Quello's got everything from Elvis to Springsteen, Bowie to Beyonce, Pink Floyd, The Who, and so much more. In just 1 minute, you can give the perfect gift they'll use all year long. Go to QELLO.com/gift and give the gift music lovers really want.
How you going? I've been going great ever since I discovered a fantastic way to relieve all those cranky muscle aches and joint pains that really slowed me down. New Raging Kakapo Pain Relief Cream. Raging Kakapo Pain Relief Cream contains not one, but 2 active pain-fighting ingredients that work fast to give me lasting relief right where I need it. Plus, Raging Kakapo contains the best of nature, really good stuff from the land down under, my home sweet home. Raging Kakapo is non-greasy and has a pleasant, fading, mild scent. When I put it on, I feel fast, penetrating pain relief. Raging Kakapo works for me. It'll work for you too. If it didn't do the job, would they back it with a 100% money-back guarantee? Come on. Try Raging Kakapo Pain Relief Cream today and do what I do. Rub on the po and go, go, go. Raging Kakapo Pain Relief Cream. Funny no, serious pain relief.
Available at H-E-B, Amazon, and RagingKakapo.com. RagingKakapo.com.
When athletes push themselves to reach their potential, they're not just working hard, they're giving their all. With its accuracy and reliability, Polar's line of running watches, fitness trackers, and heart rate monitors will help you smash your personal best again and again. Polar's technology ecosystem is your personal round-the-clock coach. Make the most of your training with detailed, accurate data and guidance. Don't just train hard, train smart. Chase your destiny with Polar. Visit Polar.com today.
Save more with Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Molly is such a cute snowflake. Where's that costume from? Thanks. Liberty Mutual saved us some money, so it's custom made. Liberty did what? Oh, we switched our auto and home insurance and saved almost $800. I wish we saved like that. Sarah's costume could use some work. But she's a cute horse. Sharon, she's a turkey.
Visit us online to get a quote. You can save $782 when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Based on recent countrywide new customer survey. Coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company. Equal housing insurer.
If you've fallen behind on your taxes, you know that the IRS is already coming for their money. And they'll get it too by garnishing your wages or maybe even taking your home or business. They call it enforced compliance. And you'd better watch out because the penalties and interest compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. You need to call the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Solving tax issues is all they do. One call to Optima starts the process to stop the demand letters and stop aggressive collection actions. They get to work immediately, fighting to protect your assets and helping you put your tax problems behind you. The IRS writes off millions every year, and Optima knows all the ins and outs of the IRS's tax assistance programs that could save you thousands. So what are you waiting for? Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-798-2477. That's 800-798-2477. 800-798-2477.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I'm Dave Marley, president of Marley Drug. Are you taking Viagra? Now you can get sildenafil, the active ingredient in Viagra, in generic 20 milligrams for $2 per tablet. That's a savings of $50 per dose.
All right, 15 seconds.
What? Wait, what?
What?
We're on the air?
No.
Oh.
Knucklehead.
Generics.com.
Are you still hungover?
Are we,
Yes.
Did you hear our request for Christmas music or no? Are you on board with that or no?
6375.
The center.
Dunc and Holder on a Friday leading up to Christmas. I'm very festive today. I'm literally wearing a green shirt, red shorts, and green shoes. Jeff looks like he literally just rolled out of the Kingpin. Shout out to the Kingpin and my man Steve Watson over there.
Yes. I'm brandishing my I'm repping the pin.
Representing.
Today. The best dive bar, or best bar in general in the city.
And Clyde doesn't represent anyone. He's just dressed normally.
I represent myself.
What's up with that?
I represent winners. And I don't have to rep nothing because winners know when they see other winners.
I don't even know what that means.
I know. That's why I said it, because you ain't a winner.
Nichols flag, pennant, towel, where is it?
You're going to have to give me some time to acquire that, bro. Thanks.
He looks so kind of got lost there in the Nichols talk. But, yeah, we're not going to be talking Nichols today. We're going to be talking Saints. Falcons, of course. Big game in the Dome on Sunday. And we're going to be hitting basically every spectrum with our three guests today. We'll start at 10:45. We'll go from the fan psychotic mode. We'll start with our buddy Todd Graffanini. Of course, he's the voice of all things Tulane.
I'm sure he would love you calling him a psycho.
Well, yes, of course. That's actually kind, I'm sure. He will join us, and we will talk Tulane basketball because they had a big win yesterday against South Alabama. They are, 9-3?
9-3.
That's 6 more. They only had 6 wins all of last year. Now they have 9 wins, and they open up AAC play in a week at Temple. So they're on a kind of a hot streak. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but more about Todd's hopes and fears of Saints Falcons. Then we will go with the national perspective. Top of the 11 o'clock hour, we'll have Jason La Canfora, CBS Sports NFL Insider, will join us. First time on the show. And then we will keep it a little more local. We will go with Brett Martell, the Associated Press, the model, will join us around 11:20. And all things Saints, all things Falcons. We're going to talk about this throughout the show today. And, Jeff, you think about what the Saints have kind of endured this week. And I know it's got people kind of on edge. First, A.J. Klein goes on injured reserve. Now, Kenny Vaccaro is on injured reserve. And, Jeff, you put out a tweet yesterday. Basically, 1/3, a little more than 1/3 of the Saints' potential starting lineup is now on injured reserve.
Right. Yeah, I think the key, though, is they haven't lost. I think if you listed the Saints' top 10 players, they really haven't lost many of those. Maybe Klein makes that list or Vaccaro, but they've managed to keep all their Pro Bowlers and the most important guy, Drew Brees, healthy, and the offensive line, even though it's suffered injuries, those guys have not suffered any season-ending injuries other than Zach Strief. So I think they're okay. Their depth is just – they're in a very precarious position right now. And you're right, defensively, losing Klein and Vaccaro this late in the season, there's just not much – we've talked about it before on the show. There's just not much on the street to get help at this stage of the season. So I don't know what they're going to do now. I just was telling a friend the other day I expected them to be in a 3-safety alignment against the Falcons a lot. I think that might be out the window. Maybe not. Maybe they use Chris Banjo there as the third safety, or maybe P.J. Williams gets more of a heavy rotation as the nickel, but there's some question marks.
I'd say don't forget about Raphael Bush. Look, he knows
Yep.
Saints, obviously, their defense. He's been in a reserve role basically all year. Maybe he can step in. But I've been asked this since yesterday. How big of a loss do you feel like losing Kenny Vaccaro is? We've heard Sean Payton, in so many words, essentially call him out after the past game about penalties. It's the same guys every week. Kenny is part of that same guys every week kind of thing. But remember when we were in the Coliseum in Los Angeles and he had just returned from his injury? I think you and me both looked at each other and said, Kenny doesn't look right. Like he came back from that game. He was hurt, missed some time, and then he came back. And he just didn't seem like he was healthy to me, and to you too.
Yeah, he was getting beat deep on a lot of. But he was being asked to defend wide receivers. But that's what good NFL teams, sophisticated offenses do, is they manipulate the defense prior to the snap to create mismatches. The Saints are experts at it, and so was Sean McVay and Jared Goff. They did a lot of that and got Vaccaro in some mismatches, but he wasn't running like he normally runs. And I'm sure at some point he went to the Saints and said, look, it's not getting any better. He was trying to grind through it, I think, grit it out, and was probably doing more harm than good for the team.
Right. He has to have surgery to repair his groin and his wrist. So the fact that he's playing through it, look, we've known Kenny for obviously several years. First-round pick in 2013. He's had his ups and downs, played through injuries, great at times, other times. Remember, look, he was benched essentially twice in his career. I mean, Sean Payton doesn't want to say that, but he was benched twice in his career temporarily, and then also suspended for 4 games for Adderall. So, Jeff, I'll just lay this out to you. Do you think we have seen the last of Kenny Vaccaro in a Saints uniform?
Yes, I do. And I'm not saying that unequivocally, but I think they'll make an offer to him in free agency. But I don't think they're going to go it's going to be similar to some of these deals we've seen in the past where they have a number for him, and I don't think they're going to go above that. And I think Kenny's going to get a better deal from somebody else on the open market. Wouldn't surprise me if he ended up in Chicago.
I would liken him to, say, Jermon Bushrod. Remember, the Saints wanted him back, but he's a Pro Bowl left tackle, and the Saints had a number. Other teams went over it, and the Saints weren't willing to budge.
I think it's exactly right.
But that's fine. See, I wouldn't blame the Saints in that situation, and I wouldn't blame Vaccaro in that situation, because when you're an NFL player, your shelf life is limited. I want Kenny to go make as much money as humanly possible.
Well, he's a prime example. I mean, look at this. He's playing with a groin injury and a wrist injury. He's had ankle injuries in the past. He plays a position that doesn't have a long shelf life because there's a lot of collisions, and he certainly is reckless the way he plays. So, yes, he needs to get paid, and I'm not sure it's going to happen here because I think they've got some other priorities down the line. At some point they're going to have to pay Mike Thomas. He's going to earn some big money. And then I think there's some other young guys that right now the Saints cap situation isn't bad, but we know they're going to pay Drew Brees elite quarterback money, and that's going to be close to $30 million a year, somewhere around there.
Well, you're going to pay Drew Brees, and you look at the safety spot, you've got 2 draft picks, young guys who you feel confident in with Von Bell and Marcus Williams, and maybe you kind of have to adjust what you do. And we've talked about this off the air. I don't know if we've necessarily talked about this on the air, but we would suspect that the Saints are going to be out and willing to pay someone like Malcolm Butler. They would be willing to go out and pay for him to come in. Imagine a cornerback situation with Malcolm Butler and Marshawn Lattimore. They have the money to do it because they've got so many rookies and so many second-year guys who are playing significant roles, cheap on the payroll. And if you want to go out and get a guy, and we know they wanted him. I mean, there's no question they wanted him. So it wouldn't stun me at all if they went out and got Malcolm Butler. And he comes here, and then you've got 3 and actually probably 4 corners that you like, because Ken Crawley would be maybe your 3rd corner. And if P.J. Williams is your 4th corner, you're in really good shape. So it wouldn't stun me at all if they kind of went that route and rode with the young guys at safety, Von Bell and Marcus Williams.
What about DeMarcus Lawrence? He's a free agent.
You really think he's not going to get franchise tagged?
I'm just saying.
Jeff.
He'd look good for the Saints.
Last year when we were doing, say, Dat Chat, because we weren't on the air yet, we were talking about Melvin Ingram and all these stud defensive ends. None of them ever hit free agency because they get franchise tagged. Look at you pointing out Tremaine Johnson. Obviously, they tried to trade for Tremaine Johnson.
He's a good player, too.
And he's a good player, but he didn't – what was it? He didn't want to come to New Orleans.
He didn't want to come here, yeah.
So that might not –
maybe not.
Right.
And you got to think that now L.A. is a much more attractive place to play because they're winning. They got this, hot young coach, and I would think he'd want to re-sign there if he gets all things being equal.
Yeah, I would think so too. But look, we're talking about Kenny Vaccaro, and it's a significant loss. I think it because he might not be the greatest in coverage. He was I would say okay. It's not his strong suit, but you see him in run stoppage. He's very good at that. He's an effective blitzer. And you combine that with A.J. Klein being out for the year and Kenny Vaccaro. It's like a double whammy leading up to this Falcons game, and I think it's got people nervous, even though I know we've done our predictions already, and we will revisit those later on in the show. But I think it's got Saints fans nervous because there are so many injuries. It might not be to say any of their Pro Bowl guys, but these are players who start, basically play every snap. And I just saw, looking over your shoulder on your computer, you had Alex Okafor. Look, that they have not filled that spot. They're not going to fill that spot this year because there's no one you can sufficiently find that will fill that void. But then, look, Kenny plays every snap. A.J. Klein would play every snap.
Right.
So these are guys that how do you move on?
That's
from,
a great
these
point
guys?
about just the durability that Kenny Vaccaro has shown. I mean, he fights through these injuries, and he knows the defensive system up and down. Now you're going to be subbing in guys that aren't as experienced and certainly not as versatile. I mean, he's a very versatile player, and they're just going to be different. They're going to have to survive. I mean, it's kind of life in the NFL right now. You look around the league, there's a lot of attrition going on, but the Saints have had their share of it, and they haven't used it as an excuse, and I really admire that in the team. They just keep trucking along, and the coaching staff does a really good job of plugging the gaps on these, especially on the defensive side, because they've had a lot of attrition there. But this offense has kind of stayed in check for the most part, and as long as number 9 is healthy, the Saints have a puncher's chance against anybody. I mean, he's the one indispensable person. I think Cam Jordan would be second. They cannot afford to lose either one of those guys.
Hey, guys, and on that, Malcolm Butler front, one guy, on the YouTube channel Dennis brought up, what about Delvin Breaux? What do you guys think about him specifically, not only with this team, but his future going forward in the NFL?
I personally think he will have a future in the NFL. I don't think it's going to be with the Saints. I think that all of the nonsense with the doctor, and they think Delvin was milking an injury, and of course he wasn't. And look, Delvin is publicly, and that's all I really know him. I don't hang out with him at his house on the weekends.
You're not buds?
We don't. The kids don't hang out. But he's been very good about this thing publicly. But I'm gonna make an assumption that he's probably got some bitter feelings about the way they treated him. If I were him, I would be pissed about the way they treated him. I would be totally bent out of shape. But I know he's a New Orleans guy. That's the thing.
He's got a young family.
Right.
He's going to want to stay here if he can.
I don't know if the Saints want him back. If I'm talking to you about them wanting to go out and spend big money on Malcolm Butler, and they wanted to do that even though they didn't have Marshawn Lattimore yet, and they already had Delvin Breaux. You don't think they would want to go do that again? And that would probably lead to a sign that Delvin Breaux's future might be in certain jeopardy. And Ken Crawley's been playing well, and P.J. Williams is still under contract, and you've got health questions with Delvin Breaux. He's a great story. Like I said, personally, I think he's a great guy, but sometimes you can't worry about feelings in the NFL.
I do think Sean Payton, one of the things that he's come to realize as the head coach, and this isn't a criticism, but he's, I think, lost his patience with players that are constantly hurt. I mean, at some point you do have to get on the field, and you've got to be productive. You can't keep this revolving door. You can't run a defense or an offense if you don't know who's going to be on the field week to week. And that's what I really have come to appreciate in guys like Cam Jordan that are there every week. I mean, Cam Jordan hasn't missed a game, I think, in his entire career. It's remarkable. And more and more, I think that's becoming a valuable asset, indispensable asset for players. And I think the Saints are leaning heavily in their draft, in their player acquisition, to finding guys that are going to be available week to week. Now, it's a violent game and injuries happen, but constantly having guys get nicked up and not available, I just don't think you can consistently rely on those kind of players. And it's not Delvin Breaux's fault. It's just the nature of the business.
Available is the key word. I mean, we hear Sean Payton talk about it all the time. You've got to be available, a la Donnell Ellerbe. if he was healthy, he would be on the Saints right now.
Right.
But he's never healthy. And you can't make the club in the tub, right? Isn't that the saying?
Well, yeah, you can't, and you also can't make up a game plan because you don't know who's going to be available week to week, and you're constantly wondering, and you got to get them out of practice and see if they can go, and it wrecks havoc with the preparation week to week. When you have a guy like Cam Jordan, you pencil him in, he's going to be there, and I've always respected that in players. Curtis Lofton was like that. Scott Shanley. I mean, those guys were rocks, and it's not easy because it's a violent game, but I think when you consistently miss 2 or 3 seasons in a row with injuries, and I'm wondering sometimes about Taron Armstead, how much he's going to hold up over time. He's had all these different injuries and has been in and out of the lineup.
Yeah, he's been playing through it. Why don't we take a break right here on the show? And look, we're going to be talking Saints-Falcons. If you want to get involved in the show, got a few open segments. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. Don't forget, around 10:45, we'll have Todd Graffini, the voice of the Tulane Green Wave. We will talk Tulane hoops. They're on a roll. And I'm wondering if Todd is sitting in the corner right now, nervous as holy get out, as far as Saints-Falcons. CBS Sports NFL insider Jason La Canfora is going to join us top of the 11 o'clock hour. Then around 11:20, our good buddy Brett the Model Martell from the Associated Press will join us. And big news on the recruiting front. We'll touch on that when we come back here next. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder. Yes. Is that Reba?
That is Reba.
Reba!
Is it Reba?
That is Reba. Reba McEntire.
Christmas Friday.
I love it.
Totally depressing that I knew that was Reba.
Yeah, that is really depressing. That is depressing as all get out.
Is options.
You have that in your
Jersey Mike's. You'll find all kinds of chicken
Spotify at
cheese
home.
Spotify playlist.
My Pandora.
Yeah.
One of my Pandora channels.
Country Fried Christmas.
Reba Christmas.
So on Spotify, can you
If you've fallen behind on your taxes, you know that the IRS is already coming for their money. And they'll get it too by garnishing your wages. Or
Yes,
maybe
you can
even taking your home
subscribe
or
to it and
business.
follow
They
it,
call enforced compliance.
and then
You'd better
those
watch out
tracks
because the penalties
will
and
be
interest
on the
compound daily,
sidebar,
making it
and then
seem
you can actually
impossible to ever get out of debt.
have
You
that
need to call the experts
specific
at
playlist.
Optima Tax
Dave,
Relief. Tax issues is all they
yeah.
do. One call to
Dave,
Optima
when we
Tax
have
process
Brett
to
Martell
stop the
on,
demand
do I
letters
need to
and
send you
stop
his theme
aggressive
music
collection
again?
actions. They get to work immediately, fighting to protect your assets and helping you put your tax problems behind you. The IRS writes off millions every year, and Optima knows all the ins and outs of the IRS's tax assistance programs that could save you thousands. So what are you waiting for? Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-798-2477. That's 800-798-2477. 800-798-2477.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I'm Dave Marley, president of Marley Drug. Are you taking Viagra? Now you can get sildenafil, the active ingredient in Viagra, in
Is it on
generic
his
20
website?
milligrams for $2 per tablet. That's a savings of $50 per dose. Marley
Really?
Drug is a North Carolina pharmacy delivering generic sildenafil to your door. For more information on
Yeah,
sildenafil,
find
go to
it in your Twitter.
marleygenerics.com or call us 800-853-6375. That's 800-853-6375.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to
'Twas
go
the
through it,
night
and I want you to
before
find it.
Christmas when all
Like
through
when
the
you- when you
house,
do,
not a
go through it,
creature
that's
was
great.
stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care. Oh, thank goodness Boot Barn was there. With holiday specials you'll want to share. El Dorado boots, what a beautiful pair. Up to $50 off
bet Dave
boots.
does.
These specials have been
Dave,
packaged
you've heard of
with
Big
care.
Audio Dynamite, haven't you?
Merry Christmas to all.
What's that?
You've heard of Big Audio
With love,
Dynamite, haven't you?
Boot
Yeah, yeah.
See?
It's like a made-up band my kid's in.
It's
Paw Patrol is on a roll.
Exactly.
The Clash.
Unbelievable.
Mick
Jones.
For this 6 to 8. Shunting trucks and hauling freight. Thomas.
Seriously, what is going on
Thomas
this
the
weekend?
Train, kids. Get with it.
Watch for the best of our iHeart Music Festival, Thursday the 28th and
Those
Friday
diesel
the 29th
trains are a bunch
at
of
7 p.m.
punks.
on NOLA 38, the CW.
Got any music
Listen and learn,
lovers?
dude.
All right, 1 minute.
Thomas.
You can get them the perfect gift
Thomas
in
the
less
Train.
than a minute. Quello
What's that
Concerts
from,
is
though?
the ultimate gift for
Thomas
anyone
and
who can't
Friends.
get
Thomas
enough
the
of
Train.
her
Cartoon
favorite
trains.
artists.
Yes.
Go to
like a
Quello.com/gift
movie.
right now. And give the
Chase
gift
wants to
they'll
be a
enjoy
train
all
conductor
year long.
for his
With
Does he have a
career
favorite,
profession.
thousands of the best
Even
music
after what happened
documentaries
yesterday,
on
which
your
you shouldn't
smart
talk about
TV,
only when he
like
gets
a
older.
Roku TV.
That
Yeah,
train
he
derailment.
would have
It's the
prevented it
greatest
if he was the
quality
conductor
live
at,
music
at 2 years old. He would
Gotcha.
have prevented
One
it.
place.
Totally.
Springsteen, Billy Joel, Lady Gaga, Pink Floyd, Dave
It's funny, my
Matthews,
wife is trying to
U2,
push my
The
kids into
Killers.
being
Give
riverboat
unlimited
pilots.
access to Quello Concerts for 3, 6, or 12
It's because
months.
we got relatives
Plus, sign
who
up
do
now
it, and
get
you
a
make
free
bank, and it's
7-day
all
trial,
like
so you can
connection
see what the
related.
hype is
Naturally.
all
So if you get
about.
them in,
From Elvis Presley
they're like
to Elvis
in for
Costello,
life. and-
Bowie to Beyonce. The list goes on and
You want to
on.
wait
10
on
seconds.
Fritz is going to
Shopping
be like
done in 1 minute.
Kansas
Go to
with family for
QELLO.com/gift
just the
and
week
give the
after.
gift music
Yeah,
lovers
whatever.
really
It's fine.
want. Quello Concerts.
Santa baby, slip a sable under the tree.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Santa baby, so hurry down the tree.
Country Fried Friday has gone Christmas, and Clyde has lost his mind.
Why?
If you just seen the look that Larry and I gave each other as soon as we recognized who was singing, we just absolutely lost. I'm sorry. I was like, oh man, I totally forgot that Taylor Swift technically started as a country artist.
Taylor
She started
Swift
She started as country.
has
She
a
was a
country
country artist.
Christmas song.
What's wrong with that? I like
Now I've heard it all.
By the way, my wife, if I don't get her Taylor Swift tickets when that show comes to town, I might as well just pack my stuff and leave.
Better hurry up.
She's hell-bent on
Well, now
going
that
to...
you're friends with people at iHeartMedia, we might be able to help you out.
Ooh.
Dave, me and you need to talk as soon as this goes over.
Oh,
have some
now-
questions.
Now
Through the
cocky.
power of iHeartRadio.
Now cocky Clyde has become conciliatory Clyde.
I've
and
always been
wants some help
conciliatory.
from Dave.
I am
Imagine
quite
that.
respectful.
Yeah, quite respectful. Exactly. Well, Jeff, some interesting recruiting news. Of course, this is the final day of the signing period, the early signing period. And Puka Williams has made his choice of where he's going to college. And, Clyde, you and me were talking about this off air. And this is not the first commitment from the New Orleans area to a certain school, Jeff. Why don't you relay the news? Because you were basically Puka's pseudo agent.
Press agent.
You don't get a cut because that would go against NCAA rules, but you're basically his agent. So why don't you let humanity know where Puka Williams from Hahnville is going to be going to college?
Well, I mean, he had committed to Kansas early on and then started hearing from every school in the country, LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, all made runs at him, but he ended up sticking with his commitment to the University of Kansas. That's a huge get for the Jayhawks program. He has a strong relationship with, I think his name's Tony Hall, is the assistant coach there, who's from New Orleans, and that's the connection Kansas has to New Orleans. He's former high school coach here, now on the Kansas staff, and he's brought a lot of New Orleans players up to Kansas. And I tell you, I think it's a testament to Kansas's recruiting because they got in on Puka Williams early and formed a relationship. Puka Williams told me they just had a really strong bond and believed in him academically, most of all. Because most people stopped recruiting him early on because they didn't think he was going to make it. And he said that meant a lot to him that they stood by him and believed in him. And now that he's gotten caught up on the academic side, it looks like he's going to qualify. He stuck with his original commitment. I think that's admirable. I think he's going to have a great career. And, you know, one thing Coach Salta Famaggio told me that I do think is relevant for Puka Williams is he's going to play slot receiver probably in college, and he thinks the Big 12 is a perfect landing spot for his skill set, these wide open spread attacks. That's where he's going to really flourish. And so it might be a good fit for him there. He certainly – and also I don't think it's a bad thing him getting away because he's had some, problems off the field a little bit. I think it much the case similar to Tyrann Mathieu. It was good for him to get away when he went to Arizona. I think this will be the case with Puka Williams as well.
Well, it's not the first local significant recruit going to Kansas. Landry Walker's Corian Harris also is going to Kansas. And, it's Tony Hull, not Hall. by the way.
Yeah, I knew it was something like that.
Close enough.
I tried to find him.
I didn't know. Oh, look, I'm just hook, line, and sinker with you. But anyway, no, Tony Hull, he's the running backs coach up at Kansas. And Clyde, you were talking about like Jamar Jaluk.
Jabbar Jaluk. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that guy too. Whatever.
Yeah.
We can't get anybody's name right on a Friday.
We apologize to everyone. That's what the Christmas break does to you.
Exactly.
But no, like we were talking about off air, the notion that a lot of these schools, specifically in the Midwest, the Big 12, and then even some schools, even the SEC like Missouri, they're specifically positioning their coaches and their scouts and recruiters to target the New Orleans area, the Louisiana area, sometimes even North Louisiana, whatever it may be, just because at that point, if you are even a fringe, let's say you're a 3-4 star, 5, maybe a fringe 5-star guy, and you may not be getting the same look that you're getting from the SEC schools, there's an option for you to be able to go to another Power 5 conference and play right away. That's the thing about Puka. Like, after watching him play multiple times this year with Jim Derry and our preps guys, he's a kind of guy, which is not a surprise that Jeff's, being a slot receiver, is that the biggest thing is that you just want to get the ball in his hands, and the fact that he can create. Like, once he has the ball in his hands, it's basically lightning in a bottle. Like, once you get in his hands, he is going to make something happen with it. And the fact that he was able to do that at Hahnville was amazing. But between Devin Brumfield, because that's what I was about to look up now, the running back from the North Shore, from Covington, he was committed to Texas Tech, I believe. And literally, in talking to some of the recruiting guys and our own Amos Morale guys like that, he literally looks like the second coming of Darrell Williams, which is surprising to me because he has the yardage, he has the power. He was their go-to option at running back. So you figure he'd get a little bit more look from in-state schools, but hey, if there are coaches who are from the area elsewhere that want you, then that's what you're going to do, and you're going to be loyal to those prospects.
And following up on the Kansas connection, the first guy I can remember them getting from down here is a guy named Mike Lee, who came from Landry Walker, started in 2016 as a freshman, a true freshman, and became a freshman All-American at Kansas last year, 2 years ago. He's been a starter there this year as well. So you can see that other prospects have probably seen the success Mike Lee had. He ended up making a Big 12 commissioner's honor roll. He's the athletic director's honor roll there as well, so he's thriving academically as well as on the field. They see success in a local product like that, and you get a pipeline going. And so I think it's a good thing what Kansas is doing. That's not a bad place to go play football. You're in the Big 12 if you want to go to a Power 5 program and probably get playing time early.
And from what I'm seeing right here, it looks like Brumfield is going to delay his decision for signing to the February signing period, and he will, in all likelihood, sign with Texas Tech.
Hey,
what's the point of that?
If you get there to a Power 5 school, it's not like NFL teams aren't going to find you. So I think that's smart. And we've talked about this. Let's take a break right here on the show. And, Jeff, we've talked about this when we talk about Lindsey Scott. If he would have gone to, say, a lower-tiered Power 5 school, he probably wouldn't have to do all this navigating to get back. And
right.
If from all, I don't know the kid at all. All I've ever heard, he's one of the best kids you could ever meet, and he's basically trying to find his way back into a Power 5 school. So, but yeah, if you go right off the bat like this Kansas push in New Orleans, you're in the Big 12, and NFL scouts, if that's what you want to do, NFL scouts will find you. There's no doubt about it.
And someone's going to hire Tony Holloway from Kansas sometime soon.
Right, he's getting all these studs from New Orleans. Coach O here might hire him away right now. So anyway, but let's take a break right here on the show. In about 15 minutes, we'll have Todd Grappanini. In about 30 minutes, we'll have Jason La Canfora from CBS. And in about 50 minutes, we'll have Brett the Model Martell from the Associated Press. So come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc and Holder.
Yeah, Yeah, I found 5.
Another Kenny
5
Chesney Christmas.
Louisiana guys already.
This report is brought to you by
crazy.
Louis Armstrong International Airport.
From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shelby Lee.
All right, 3.5 minutes.
Mixes out on this Friday before Christmas. We'll see a mix of clouds
Some
and
Mississippi
sun.
kids there, too.
Mostly cloudy skies taking us into the afternoon. Temperatures into the upper 70s, near 80
between
by
that,
this afternoon,
between
which
Frank
could make for a
Wilson at
warm one.
UTSA.
But cooler temperatures are in store for the weekend.
6 or
We'll see
6
some
guys.
showers across the area for your Saturday morning, and then a cold front moves through. From the
7.
Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shelby Latino. Have a great day.
Jazz is more
Does the
than
long
music.
snapper count?
Gumbo
Does
is
that
more
count?
than soup, and the new
Sure.
Armstrong International is more than an
The long
airport.
snapper
From
soup.
touchdown to takeoff, it will be a destination in its own right. The new Armstrong International.
Yeah, I can think of
Airport,
worse places
where
to
New
go.
Orleans
It's a cool
takes flight.
school, man.
Arrive
Yeah,
in
Lawrence
29.
Lawrence is a pretty cool college town. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a,
Are you taking
it's,
Viagra? Now you can
Randy
get
Rosetta's
sildenafil, the
alma
active
mater.
ingredient
Yeah, it
in
is.
Viagra,
Mhm.
in
Very
generic
proud. I
20
think this
milligrams
Jill
for
Dryden out
$2
here
per tablet.
works
That's
for
a
us.
savings of $50
She's like the head
per
of the
dose.
Kansas
Marley Drug is a North Carolina pharmacy
local
delivering
alumni
generic
club in New
sildenafil to your
Orleans.
door.
Yeah,
For
she's
more
always talking
information on
Jayhawks.
sildenafil, go to marleygenerics.com.
Hey, you know what else is a cool
or
college
call
town
us
here? Lexington's
800
great.
853 6375.
I like Lexington.
That's
Lexington
800
was one of my
Lexington, cow
was
town.
was
It's great
one
if
of
you're
the
a
was one
cattle.
of the better SEC's towns to go to.
No,
I've been to Louisville. There's nothing there.
Oh yeah, there's
It's like there's a downtown, and then there's some
nothing in
things,
Louisville.
and then there's a river,
Yeah, there's nothing in Louisville.
and then across the way is Ohio.
When
One of the
athletes
great
push themselves to
cities
reach
in
their
America,
potential, they're not
young
just
man.
working hard, they're giving their all. With its accuracy and
call
reliability,
Lexington
Polar's
Cowtown
line of running watches,
appropriately.
fitness trackers, and heart rate monitors will help you smash your personal best again and again. Polar's technology ecosystem is your personal round-the-clock coach. Make the most of your training with detailed, accurate data and guidance. Don't just train hard, train smart. Chase your destiny with Polar. Visit Polar.com today.
Spread Christmas cheer with a gift from Edible Arrangements. Get your teacher, babysitter, dog walker, or neighbor a delicious gift starting at just $19. Unforgettable treats at unbeatable prices for everyone on your list. Talk about a win-win. And if you're looking for something sweet that'll seriously impress your friends, family, or
Usually I have it up
coworkers,
by like
get the
7
gift of
a.m.
Christmas. A new arrangement filled with
Slept in-
fresh
well, I
fruit,
slept
chocolate
in
dip,
because my
pineapple
kids didn't
reindeer,
have to wake
white
up for
chocolate dip,
school.
strawberries,
Good
and
for you.
more. But don't wait,
Slept
it's
in is
only
like
available until
7:30.
Christmas. Visit your local Edible Arrangement store or edible.com today to order a last-minute gift.
If you've fallen behind on your taxes, you know that the IRS is already
usually
coming for
I'm,
their
like,
money,
up
and they'll get
early
it too by garnishing your
and getting this
wages, or
done before I
maybe
even
even
gotta get
taking your
Brady
home
to
or
school, and he's
business.
the first
They
one.
call it enforced compliance, and you'd better
should
watch
play
out
his,
because the
his
penalties
text
and
to
interest
you last
compound
night.
daily, making it seem impossible
I
to
mean, Brady
ever
was
get out
great.
of debt.
I mean,
You
I was
need
at
to call
Clancy's.
the
Are you
experts
serious?
at Optima Tax
No,
Relief.
I was at
Solving
Clancy's
tax
and I
issues
showed
is
it to the
all they
bartender
do.
who was
One call
dying
to Optima
laughing.
starts the process
I made
to stop
Brady
the demand letters
record. I
and
was like,
stop
record this for
aggressive
Mr.
collection
Jeff.
actions.
No.
They get to work
Okay.
immediately,
And
fighting
it was
to
he
protect
goes
your
up and says,
assets and helping you
Dominate!
He's so
30
cute
seconds.
too. He's got this little face.
That's awesome.
That was awesome.
That's great.
I was showing it to everybody at the bar, man. Everybody was like cracking up.
So what are you waiting for? Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-798-2477. That's 800-798-2477.
10 seconds.
798-2477.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Your home for home team talk. Sports 1280 New Orleans.
See, I was hoping for some Brooks and Dunn.
If I don't hear Hootie singing Christmas, I'm gonna be bent. I'm all geared up
You're
in Christmas
already
gear.
bent.
I want Hootie. I come for Country Fried Friday just for Hootie. And if I don't hear Hootie singing
remember
like
when-
Jingle Bells, I am gonna be very upset.
Jeff, do you remember way back when we started this show and we came up
What
with
is
the
this?
idea
We
of country?
started the
We
show.
started the show.
What is this?
And Country Fried Friday
What the hell is
became a
this?
thing, and Larry rallied against it.
Yes,
just
he was-
railed against
now
it.
he's like-
now it's like if he doesn't get it, Papa has
He's
not
a
had
true-
his hot chocolate.
True believer. I like it.
Maybe it's the fact that we're connected to 101.1 HD2, and of course 101.1 is the country giant here as part of iHeartRadio. I don't know. I've just absorbed it all, and I'm all in. But you don't hear me asking for like Randy Travis and all these other
That's not terrible though.
goobs. Hootie Hootie.
Randy Travis is good. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Randy Travis isn't
He's a-
terrible.
he's
Now,
a-
granted, Randy has had some troubles here of late, but
I don't know what
Only
any of
Clyde
that
knows
means.
that because he records Entertainment.
I clearly don't do that because they don't
Every
talk about.
night.
I don't know anything. No, because I don't
Watches
watch that because I don't know anything about Selena Gomez. I don't care about the
They're on
Kardashians.
TMZ every 5
I read,
seconds.
dude.
Does CMT, does that channel have like its own TMZ kind of like country? They
No,
follow
it does
everyone
not.
around Nashville and try to zing them?
No,
unfortunately,
unfortunately, CMT as a member of the Viacom network is really just kind of an offshoot feeder for like Jersey Shore reruns.
Basically, it's like
other
Stone Cold
reruns.
Steve Austin. If he has a show idea, he gets it aired, right?
Well, I think he does have a show on CMT.
Right,
actually.
exactly.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm in. Come on, what is it, like the Stone Cold Challenge or something?
Yes.
Something
So
like
wait,
that?
I got a little bit of trivia I want to read off. Can I read this off about this? The great broadcasting legend Dick Enberg.
Yes.
Passed away today at the age of 82.
He is a legend. I loved, this is me being like tennis guy. I loved when he was calling tennis in the U.S. Open, and he would do all of that. But of course, he's or Wimbledon. He's run
He was
the gauntlet.
versatile. He could call
Absolutely, yes.
anything.
The Padres.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was great. So this, I didn't know this, but it was sent to me by William Taylor, who's a Saints historian. I mean, William knows everything about the Saints, and he pointed out that in old school Saints fans will remember this. There was actually an old movie called Number One. It was released in 1969 with Charlton Heston playing a Saints quarterback back then, and they used Dick Enberg to dub in over Buddy DiLiberto. Back then was the Tulane PA announcer for Saints games back in the late 60s. And we all know Buddy had a little bit of a lazy tongue, if you will.
Little bit?
So they used Dick Enberg to dub in as the Saints play-by-play PA announcer for the movie Number One, I should say. That was a little connection to the Saints. He called a lot of Saints games over the years. Remember, his partner was always Merlin Olsen?
Yes.
And called a bunch of Saints games over the years. But I didn't know that. It's really interesting that he was actually part of that movie. And I remember our own late, great Pete Finney used to always tell me about Number One, how big a deal it was back in the day. Charlton Heston was a huge, huge star.
He was a giant, of
Yeah,
course.
that he was here at Saints practices, and they said it was like, it'd be similar, like, I guess, if Brad Pitt or somebody was they were doing a movie here in this day and age.
Yeah, Dick Enberg, that was legendary. Like I said, I'm geeking out about tennis, but he's done every sport known to mankind. He's tremendous.
Yes. So sad news, Dick Enberg passing away. And I remember watching, I think it didn't used to be NBC.
Yes.
Like NBC football.
Mm-hmm.
He was their primary guy, yes.
Right. He was the main guy for a long time. But I remember watching him back in the day. I mean, he was probably along with was Jim McKay. Those were kind of the guys back in the 70s and 80s, at least I remember.
Yes, Jim McKay, of course. People won't forget his, and it's probably not great, and he probably would rather not be remembered for it. But at the Munich Olympics, I mean, he was the one who delivered the awful news of the Israelis being killed in the terror attacks. But look, those two guys. I agree. Those are like the legends of sports media on TV for sure in those days, and they'll stand the test of time. I mean, they're incredible.
But speaking of, are you guys fired up about the Winter Olympics coming
No.
up? I'm
Why?
excited. I love the
For
Winter
what?
Olympics. How could you not like the Winter Olympics? It's like one of the greatest sporting events there is.
Because there's no winter here, and I have no connection
So
to
you
it at
can't
all.
appreciate great athleticism and the achievement of winning a gold medal and the patriotism that goes with the Olympics?
Here's what I love about the Winter Olympics: curling.
That is cool.
That takes no athletic ability.
Oh,
you
yes,
send
it's
a
also
stone
accurate.
down the way, and
It
you got a
does. Takes
broomstick.
hand-eye
Get outta
coordination. You got to be fast with your arms.
Although the only thing about that
Hand-eye
now is that
coordination.
you
you
can
might as well
watch
play Nintendo at the Winter Olympics. Hand-eye coordination.
That might
What?
be next. That might be next. But the fact of the matter is
Curling's
now you
cool.
can actually watch curling on NBCSN pretty much every week. Like there's curling night in America now. So, curling used to be, you only really got to see
Curling night in America.
Yeah, as a
You gotta
playoff
be
of
kidding.
hockey night in
What?
America.
Do you ever sleep? What do you do?
No, I really don't.
You,
Like,
like,
if you
watch
can't tell his
TV all
bags
the
under my
time?
eyes.
He watches curling, the Darts channel. I'm sure he
Actually,
watches.
there's no darts channel, but it does sometimes come on Fox Soccer Plus.
See? The Darts channel.
And then we get it on Sky here.
What
in
was
America.
this yesterday you wanted to add in about soccer? I can't believe I went there.
Don't. No.
Oh yeah, about the so MLS. Is
I'm sorry.
adding a
We've got to
franchise.
take a commercial break right here.
No,
We're
it's
up
okay. What I want to
against
bring up today is the fact that I want Graf to know that his Chelsea team is going down on Saturday morning.
Well, you could tell him next.
Oh,
Why don't
yeah,
we
I
take
can't
a
wait.
break right here on the show. We're going to have our buddy Todd Graffinini, the voice of the Tulane Green Wave, talk a little Tulane men's basketball. They're on a roll, but basically to catch his panic for Saints Falcons, he doesn't even want to watch the game, Jeff. This guy, you know, my good buddy, but the godfather to my youngest son, Chase, does not even want to watch the game. He's so damn nervous.
I can relate to that. I can relate. I can't
Just
watch
like when Louisville plays Kentucky,
basketball.
you can't do it?
No, can't watch it.
I don't get nervous.
Because Louisville
about
loses.
They lose almost every time they play Kentucky.
Clyde just got you, and he was totally right.
Can't,
So the graph coming up next.
Gotta own it.
Here, Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Duncan Holder. Hootie, yes! This is real!
Yes.
Yes!
I love it.
Now you have to hear for the rest of the day.
Dave is my favoriteest person in American history.
You're welcome.
I can't believe that's
Jeez,
even
finally,
real.
now you won't have to
Easily
hear for the
pleased.
rest of the day. Oh, I don't hear Hootie. By the way, apparently one guy, Mike Hobbs in the chat says that Enberg called 10 Super Bowls and 28 Wimbledons.
Dude, he's a stud. I'm telling you, Wimbledon, he was awesome.
Always sounded so relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
You
you
know,
taking Viagra?
he didn't dominate
You can get
the-
sildenafil, the active
the, you know,
ingredient.
Well, I remember
airways.
Wimbledon, it
Generic
would be
20
him
milligrams for
and
$2 per tablet.
Bud Collins,
That's a savings of
who's
$50 per dose.
Well,
Marley
he's
Drug
dead
is a
too,
North
but he
Carolina
was-
pharmacy
Bud
that
Collins,
brings
he
generic
was
the tennis
sildenafil
writer
to
for
your
the
door.
Boston
For the Boston
For more
Globe, right.
information on
Yeah.
sildenafil,
Well,
go
that's
to
amazing.
marleygenerics.com
Yeah, he
or
was-
call us
The Boston
at
Globe
800
spawned all these, you know, Will
853
McDonough.
73.
Yeah.
Yep.
He started out as like one of the original insiders.
What about Sean McDonough? You want to tell a story about
No,
Sean
I
McDonough? We don't want to tell that
I
story.
will say this though. I don't think he's that good. I'm not big. I'm not like a big, critic of announcers, but he's kind of boring.
It's true.
He's certainly not as good as Mike Tirico.
Yeah,
They would've paid
Tirico.
Tirico was great.
Yeah, yeah.
What does he call him now?
No,
He
no,
does
Tariq.
NBC.
Yeah, and literally he is going to be the on-site
He's going to take
host
over
for
when Al Michaels.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? By the way, I got
For the Winter Olympics.
I've got to get into the question to La Canfora about Lee Zurich.
Oh, you're damn right.
We were like roommates at Syracuse.
Oh my God! Are you kidding me?
What?
Yes, absolutely, we got to do that.
Yes. I think freshman year.
You better tweet Lee
That's
right now.
awesome.
And listen, or text him. You gotta like get him on the line. They could like have a fight.
All your favorite stations.
La
all
Canfora
free.
versus
Search
Lee Zurich.
Poll Radio on iHeartRadio now.
What time's he coming on?
If you fall behind on your
20
taxes,
minutes.
you know that the
11:05.
IRS is
Actually,
already
text
coming
these.
for their money, and they'll
I'm gonna
get it
text
too
them. I'm
by
gonna, like,
garnishing your wages,
I'm gonna
or
say
maybe
gear up
even
for,
taking your home or business.
We're getting Graf, right?
Yes,
Quiet.
right here. Yeah.
Alright.
Watch out, because the penalties and interest compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. You need to call the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Solving tax issues is all they do. One call to Optima starts the process to stop the demand letters and stop aggressive collection actions. They get to work immediately, fighting to protect your assets and helping you put your tax problems behind you. The IRS writes off millions every year, and Optima knows all the ins and outs of the IRS's tax assistance programs that could save you thousands. So what are you waiting for? Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-798-2477.
All right, we got Graf in 30 seconds.
2477. 800-798-2477.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Every child is born with talents, hopes, and dreams, but poverty will steal
the hell
those
is that,
dreams.
Todd?
You can help a child find hope
Reverend
when you become
Horton
their
Heat
sponsor with Compassion International.
Reverend Horton Heat. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, I was gonna say Reverend Horton Heat.
What
Nice.
is that? What is that? Is that a band?
Radio.
What is it?
Yes.
What do you mean,
Jesus,
yes?
Jeffrey.
I've never heard of that before in my life. Those three words together, I've never heard of in my life.
This is Duncan Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Dave can play whatever the hell he wants the rest of the show. He's made my entire year.
Thank
Hootie
goodness.
Christmas?
We
Are
love
you
to hear
kidding me? Tremendous. More like tremendous. Todd Graffinini, voice of the Tulane Green Wave, joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. And Todd, before we pull you out of the corner while you're sucking your thumb, nervous as holy hell, let's talk about the Tulane men's basketball team. Look, 9-3 entering conference play in a week. And Todd, I'm sure you're having a ball calling this because it is certainly night and day from what you've been seeing from last year, first year of Mike Dunleavy, to this year, right?
No question about it, Larry, and Merry Christmas, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on. Yes, it's been a lot of fun being around this team. And, just talking to Coach Dunleavy after the game yesterday, which was anything but easy, Tulane had an 18-point lead in the first half and thought they were going to coast to its 9th victory of the year. Well, South Alabama had other issues and other ideas about that. And, the South Alabama wound up taking the lead in that game with a few minutes left. But one thing that we've seen this year is that Tulane showed a little bit of mental toughness, which I think's been lacking the last couple of years. And, even going back to the Nichols game a few nights ago where Tulane was down by 20 points in the second half and battled back to win. That's a very good sign, and it's something that I think speaks highly of the coaching staff and even more importantly the players themselves that have bought into the system and just weren't going to be denied. And it's just really been good to see. And again, talking to Coach Dunleavy after the game yesterday, he told the guys basically before the season started that before we head into conference play, which of course is going to start on Thursday, we got to have at least 9 or 10 wins. And a mission accomplished. I think the one game they'd love to have back would be that Georgia State game in Atlanta a few weeks ago on that Sunday, which could have been a swing game. I don't think anybody really expected them to beat North Carolina or Florida State. But 9-3 is a pretty good position. And what he said was, you get to 9 wins out of conference, you start getting some conference wins, then you can start talking about the next level or as far as postseason. And to get to that position, you had to have this many wins to even think about it. Now, if you can make some hay in conference, you can actually talk about going to a postseason tournament, which, of course, has been lacking over the years. So it's been a very good non-conference slate. We were undefeated at home, established home court advantage again, and won those 2 games in Jamaica. What we got to figure out, guys, is how to shoot the basketball much better in true road environments, because those 3 road games that we have played, we just have not shot the ball well at all, which is going completely against what we've been doing all year long.
Well, Graf, as you mentioned, American Athletic Conference play starts up soon, and I know Tulane was picked preseason like 10th, I think, in the preseason coaches poll. Should we adjust expectations for this team? I mean, are we free to think that they're going to finish a little better than that, or is this just a case of non-conference play being what it is, and now they're going to get into the meat of their schedule with Temple and the likes of Cincinnati and
Wichita
some of these,
State?
Yeah, some of these really good teams in the conference.
Well, preseason predictions are, just kind of, it's such a subjective thing because you're going really a lot from what happened last year. And why would Tulane be picked any higher than 10th if you're coming off a 6-win season? It's just, I don't think that they accounted for who was going to come in as far as a Jordan Cornish and a Samir Shayich, who've been really outstanding for us. And, of course, we saw the freshman Caleb Daniels yesterday from St. Augustine High School have a monster game and actually won the ball game with an N1 with about 30 seconds to go. So I think the new additions have been very, very good when you combine who we had coming back with a year under the Dunleavy system. Look, the American is a grind. We've been it now for 3 years. We've seen how tough it is night in and night out. It's a very, in my opinion, it's a very top-heavy conference with, look, Wichita State is, very well could be in the Final Four. Cincinnati probably has their best team that they've had in a decade. Those 2 teams are lights out. After that, it just kind of, it's a different level. And look, we're going to play Temple on Thursday up in Philly. They are really, really good. As a matter of fact, if you want to get a look at them, they're playing Georgia today on the SEC Network at noon. I'm going to watch them a little bit. Houston has proven to be very, very good this non-conference slate. And after that, I think Tulane matches up pretty much with everybody in the league. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility at all to get conference wins. The key, though, is going to try to steal some of those games on the road. That's the big thing because, like I said, I think we're playing so well at home. I think we've established a home court advantage now where we just have not had it in the past. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this team matches up. But going up to Philly and playing in the Liacouras Center against Temple to start conference play, that's no joke, fellas. I mean, it's going to be a tough task. But we took them to double overtime up there last year with a 6-win team. So I don't think anybody on this team is going to be intimidated by going up there.
Todd Grappanini, the voice of the Tulane Green Wave, joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. Of course, you can listen to that Tulane-Temple game and everything Tulane men's basketball here on the flagship station for Tulane men's basketball and football here, Sports 1280. Todd, all right, you're in a good mood. Time to get you in a bad mood. Saints, Falcons. I'm just going to let you go. Go.
I'm really worried. And look, and it's not because
yes.
Look. Let me get one thing straight. Let's get one thing straight. I hate the Falcons more than life itself. And
3 minutes.
These are the worst 3.5 hours of the football season. Watching the Saints and the Falcons. There's no joy in it whatsoever. It's all angst. And when the Saints do well, it's relief. And when the Falcons do well, it's sheer anger. And the thing that is just concerning, and you were talking about it from the outset, I think the injuries are mounting up to where I don't know if the Saints are going to be able to overcome them in the long run. Now, I know I'm kind of dating myself here, but this season is more and more reminding me back of 1991, where the Saints won the Western Division, the NFC West back then, but jumped out to a 9-1 lead. We're dominating the entire division, and then all of a sudden injuries started to take hold, and they came back to the pack. Bobby Hebert got hurt, and then more importantly, as the season wore on to the last stages, guys in the defensive backfield started getting hurt, and by the time they got to the final game of the
2 minutes
and beat the Cardinals for the championship, I mean, it was a shell of a team. And if you remember, the Falcons came in here and won the first round of the playoffs because there was nobody left defensively. And this team is starting to remind me of that. I don't think that we're going to have the horses to make a run in the playoff because of injuries. If this was a full-strength team, I'd say bring everybody on. I just don't know if we're going to be able to overcome. A.J. Klein is huge to me, even more a loss in Kenny Vaccaro because Klein was playing so well and he knew what he was doing defensively. That is the concerning thing to me. And again, I go back to 91. That's what the Saints dominated that entire year until injuries derailed the entire thing. And that's the kind of sense I'm getting right now. I hope I'm wrong. I think we're going to win the game. I do, just because of what happened 2 weeks ago. I just think that it's so fresh in everybody's mind, and the fans are going to be really, really fired up for this game. But can the Saints sustain with the amount of injuries? And, of course, the Falcons are so lucky. They fumble balls and they roll right back into their own hands and score touchdowns on fumbles, and it's just – It's ludicrous.
Please
it's
deposit
ludicrous. The
5 cents in the
Falcons
can,
at 9-5
please.
right now is a travesty. It's an absolute joke. It's a joke.
Oh, Todd, that's why you're the greatest.
Luckiest team in America.
Oh boy, we'll get
20 seconds.
We'll get Smitty back on the sideline for you. Todd, appreciate it, buddy.
Graf.
All right, guys. Merry Christmas.
All right, you too. Hour number 1 is up. Hour number 2 is on the way. Jason La Canfora, CBS Sports' NFL
5 seconds.
Insider, coming up next. Sports1280NOLA.com and the iHeartRadio up, Dunc and Holder. What the hell is that?
That was Garth Brooks.
Counseling session.
Micro machines.
Counseling session for
Garnishing your wages,
Graf.
or maybe even taking
Graf,
your home or
Graf.
business.
You should
I didn't even ask him a question.
You should
Todd,
have started
Saints
with that
Falcons,
and been
go.
like, hey, look, we want to talk Tulane basketball, but man, just go. It's fun.
Saints Falcons,
You need to
go.
call the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Solving
I'm
tax
really
issues
worried.
is
How did
all
we
they
know
do.
that?
One call to
But it wasn't that. It was like a huge sigh. It was like, guys.
They get to work
He's like
immediately. fighting to protect your assets and helping you put your tax problems behind you. The IRS writes off millions every year, and Optima knows all the ins and outs of the IRS's tax assistance programs that could save you thousands. So what are you waiting for? Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-798-2477. That's 800-798-2477. 800-798-2477.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
WODT WNOE FM HD2 New Orleans. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Search Sports 1280.
Previously on The Herd.
Okay.
Belichick, Brady, there's ego involved. Brady wants people to think like it was mostly Tom, and Belichick wants people to think, nah.
Pretty good. Spread Christmas cheer with a gift from Edible
absolutely.
Arrangements. Get your teacher, babysitter, dog walker, or neighbor a delicious gift starting at just $19.
Okay, no news at the top, so we got 4.5 minutes.
Full prices for everyone on your list. Talk about a win-win. And if you're looking for something sweet that'll seriously impress your friends, family, or coworkers, give the gift of Christmas. A new arrangement filled with fresh fruit, chocolate-dipped pineapple reindeer, white chocolate-dipped strawberries, and more. But don't wait. It's only available until Christmas. Visit your local Edible Arrangement store or edible.com today to order a last-minute gift.
I'm Dave Martin, president of
I'm
Marley
going to
Drug.
take it out now.
Are you
Bartered
taking
it back
Viagra?
in.
Now you can get
Nice. I like how you were able to
Sildenafil,
like be able to just kind of like,
Yeah,
hey,
she was cool.
I'll do this and
20
we'll,
milligrams for $2
yeah.
per tablet.
So people
That's a
get it.
savings of
If they don't,
$50
they'll
per
look it up.
dose.
Yeah,
Marley
they will
Drugs
because
and
again,
North
we
Carolina
want to
pharmacies
make
delivering
smart
generic
people.
Sildenafil to
Exactly.
your door.
Hey,
For
Dave,
more
this guy,
information on Sildenafil, go
Horton,
to
Reverend Horton, he
marleygenerics.com
sounds
or call us
good.
800
Yes, he's good.
6375.
Dave probably took a break real quick. I want to go see this guy, baby.
853-6375.
Got any music lovers on your holiday list? You can get them the
You know who's playing
perfect
this
gift
weekend?
in less than a
Lost
minute.
Value Ramblers.
Quello Concerts is
At
the
Tipitina's.
ultimate gift for anyone who
they're
can't
awesome.
get enough of his or her
fact, I
favorite
haven't seen
artists.
tickets.
Go to
They're
Quello.com/gift right now and give the gift
might
they'll
be.
enjoy
No one's
all
Hootie
year
and the
long.
Blowfish.
With
Only
Quello,
Hootie and the
you can
Blowfish
watch
is Hootie and the
thousands
Blowfish.
of the best concerts and music documentaries on
No,
your
Hootie and the
smart TV,
Blowfish.
like a Roku TV or on the go. It's the greatest
Wow, they've
quality
updated
live
their,
music performances all in one
Can't wait
place.
for one day that Hootie
Springsteen,
just come
Billy
and
Joel,
punch me
Lady
in the face
Gaga,
'cause I
Pink
just
Floyd, Dave
Yeah,
Matthews,
it'd be like it's
U2,
Darius.
The Killers.
However, if
Give
you could be a Hootie
unlimited
and the Blowfish
access to
fan, that's
Quello
fine too.
concerts
Here's the
for
thing.
3,
I bet you
6, or
if I
12
went up
months.
to the actor
Plus,
that
sign
is
up now and get
Victor
a free
Newman
7-day
on Young and
trial
the Restless,
so
and I
you
was
can
like,
see
dude,
what the
you're Victor
hype is
Newman,
all
I bet
about.
you he'd be
From
happy.
Elvis
So
Presley
why
to
wouldn't
Elvis
Hootie be happy
Costello,
if I went
Bowie
up
to
to him and called
Beyonce.
him Hootie?
The list goes on and on. Get your holiday shopping done in 1 minute. Go to QELLO.com/gift and give the gift music lovers really want. Quello Concerts.
My son Aiden has asthma. Secondhand smoke has triggered his asthma so badly, he ended up in the emergency room and spent multiple nights in intensive care. Now
That's
he's on
awesome.
a whole bunch
That's
of
great.
medications. My tip to you is, don't be shy about telling
Send that to
people
Dave
not to smoke
right
around
now.
kids.
I want that to like anytime someone like you dominate.
Exposed to secondhand smoke. If you or someone you know
That's
wants
great.
help, call 1-800-QUIT
say
now.
dominate.
A message
Dominate,
from the U.S.
hit
Department
it.
of Health and Human
Soundboard.
Services and CDC.
When was the last time you walked out of a mattress store feeling confident about your purchase? These places exist for one reason. For a highly trained, commission-driven
Did you see
salesperson to dupe you into spending way
Did you
too much
see
money
this,
on a
by the way?
mattress. Hi, my name is
Oh,
Dave,
yeah.
and I'm one of the
I
co-founders
think
of Casper.
I'm very
Casper
angry.
was
I'm looking
created
very
with a single
angry
goal
or
in mind:
something. I don't know.
deliver
It's
a late
dominate.
night's sleep
I
at
look
an
like I'm
incredible
mad,
value.
too.
We sell the Casper mattress online, skipping the markups of mattress stores, and we let you try it out in your own home for 100 nights risk-free. In less than 3 years, we've rapidly become the internet's favorite mattress. In fact, it now has more than 20,000 reviews with an average of 4.8 stars. Try us out today.
See for yourself why an independent research study showed Casper mattress owners are 3 times as likely to say they get great sleep. Simply go to Casper.com and use code EVENT to get $50 towards your mattress purchase. Terms and conditions apply. That's gift code EVENT at Casper.com for $50 towards your mattress purchase. Casper.com. Thanks for checking us out.
Yeah, tonight. Lost Value
Facebook
Ramblers
is signing its
tonight.
first ever music deal with a record
At
label. The
Tipitina's.
agreement
I will
allows
be
users
there,
of the
dog.
social network, Instagram, and Oculus
I will
to
be
upload
there,
and share videos
dog.
containing music from Universal
across the
Music
lake.
Group, which includes artists like Lady Gaga and Taylor Swift. The
Brad
deal
in.
allows Facebook to deepen its path into the video realm and also introduce new music-based products, but they didn't say what that would be. Facebook is in similar talks with other music companies like Warner and Sony. General Motors is
La Canfora's not answering.
the podcast hubs. The automaker Bank are partnering with
I
news
texted
and
him and he didn't
entertainment
answer
companies
either.
ranging from Fox Sports
totally
to the
gonna
New York
ruin it.
Times to
Sure.
provide
Destroying
podcasts
my
through apps that are downloadable via the car's onboard data connection.
Jason's not answering.
All right, well.
The apps and content are free.
I
but
texted
it
him like 20
only works in some
minutes ago.
2017 and
He didn't
2018
respond.
models, and you have to have a Chevrolet MyLink system data plan. Amazon
Well,
is filing a
actually,
patent for a
no, he
system
texted
called
me back,
Amazon
so
Tune that will provide
give him a call back. He knows we're
non-downloadable
calling.
pre-recorded video on a variety of
Yeah, he
topics.
texted,
Kinda
awesome,
sounds
this is
like
a blast
YouTube,
from the
Tech
past.
Report, Larry
Freshman
Olson,
year roommate.
NBC News
Yeah.
Radio.
Yeah, they were.
My son Aiden has asthma. Secondhand smoke has triggered his asthma so badly,
What are the
he ended
chances
up
of
in
that?
the
No
emergency
kidding.
room
Really?
and spent
For real?
multiple nights in intensive care. Now he's on a whole bunch of medications. My tip to you
I need
is
like a
don't be shy
cookie or
about
something.
telling people
That's
not
fair.
to
Need a
smoke
little bit of
around
sugar.
your
We have any, like,
kids.
yeah,
Just
we
a little
have
jolt.
Half of
Christmas
U.S.
cookies
kids
out
are
there.
exposed
There were
to
some Christmas
secondhand
cookies
smoke.
yesterday.
If you were
All right, we
Way to
got
the
him.
left.
call
Sweet.
1-800
Gird your loins. We're starting.
from the U.S.
Yes.
Department of Health and
Gird
Human
your
Services and
loins.
CDC.
Duncan Holder, hour number 2 on a Friday, December 22nd. Larry Holder, Jeff Duncan, Clyde Verdun here with you at our NOLA.com Times-Picayune studios. And pleased to be joined by Jason La Canfora, NFL insider for CBS. Of course, you see him each and every week on the pregame show and all over Twitter, breaking news, this, that, the other, doing great things. But Jason, first off, Jeff has got to ask you a very important question about your bizarre connection to New Orleans. Jeff, I'm just going to let you take it away, my friend.
Well, Jason, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the NFL season, Week 16, and some of the other questions, we want your best Lee Zurich story from freshman year at Syracuse. I know you got some dirt on Lee Zurich, and we'd love to hear something preferably defamatory about
no
him.
dirt at all. And I know Lee's doing great things down there with his reporting on things that are, frankly, much more important and much more noble than sports. So I tip my cap to him. I mean, I'd say that Lee became sort of the big hit of, like, our floor of Day Hall freshman year, right around, when the King Cake and all that stuff came out. And his mom sent up a care package of, like, all the best New Orleans goodies. And I remember immediately our room became very popular. Like, people were ready to pounce on whatever he had.
Jason, did Lee have the same eyebrows as he does now? Just
Yes.
curious.
Yes. Yes.
Best eyebrows in New Orleans.
You could pick him out of a crowd. I'm assuming you guys are friends. I don't want.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a bit of like a Herman Munster thing going on with the eyebrows. I can confirm that.
Actually, I guess he's got the second most famous eyebrows next to Anthony Davis in New Orleans.
Yes, next to Anthony Davis. Yeah, absolutely. But Jason, I appreciate you jumping on the show. And just your overall thoughts on the Saints. Look, you and I catch up typically league owners meetings, and we talk about what's going to happen with Sean Payton, what's going to happen with Drew Brees. I know I sure as hell didn't anticipate them being this good this year. I'm assuming you didn't. Just your overall thoughts right now on this Saints team.
Yeah, I like their off season. I remember sitting there in May, and you're kind of hard up for columns, and you're like, well, I'll write the proverbial who do I think is better than other people think column. And I did like what they did, but I didn't think it would be 0 to 60 like this. You know, I thought it would be more incremental, and frankly, the division I thought would be the best in football, and I thought Tampa would be a big factor in that. So while I like the Saints, you know, you've got a team that almost won a Super Bowl there. You've got a team that almost won a Super Bowl the year before that there. And you've got this sort of hotshot upstart team, or so we thought, in Tampa. So I thought they'd be improved, but I wasn't sure they'd get in the playoffs. And now, obviously, they could win the division. Good for them, man. You know, I think people underestimate, like, how difficult it is to do that and to do it while the quarterback's in a lame duck year, you know, and while, you know, the head coach is someone who is seen as a potential commodity by other teams or someone who is coveted to some degree. And, you know, you've got uncertainty with ownership, right, and exactly how all that plays out, you know, Mr. Benson and his health and all that. There's a lot of overarching things that you could look at and say that looks like a right? A door closing, maybe a different era of Saints football about to begin. And instead, it's it's been their best season since their Super Bowl year, and it's far from over.
Yeah, Jason, I wanted to ask you a little bit about something non-Saints related, but I'm curious to get your thoughts on the potential sale of the Carolina Panthers. There's some interest, obviously, down here for a couple reasons. Carolina's in the same division as the Saints, but also I think at some time down the road, the Saints may be involved in a similar succession plan from Tom Benson. So could you kind of inform our readers, because listeners, I think people are curious. I didn't realize this when I read it, that I don't know when this was passed. Maybe you can help me out, but the primary owner of an NFL team now only has to have like 30% of the total, I guess, value of the team or invested in that. I didn't know that. I thought at one time you had to have over half of the.
You used to sort of have to have 51%, but now we've seen these teams are worth so much money, and we've seen so many of the old school owners, the ones who run a family business, the Rooneys in particular, have to bring in other more liquid partners, and you're going to have to give away fairly sizable chunks. So the idea that they could still own 51 got a little bit antiquated. So you still have to have a majority share, but that doesn't have to be a majority of halfway between 0 and 100%. In this case, he actually has 48% of the team currently, Jerry Richardson, but this will be a complete sale. I mean, this will be a complete sale of the franchise. The minority owners, whoever's coming in there will have the right to purchase the whole thing, and there will also be the right of any minority owner to get out whenever they want, ahead of the curve at whatever price point is determined. So they will have new principal ownership by the start of next year, and this situation is unique because there is no succession plan. There was a succession plan, and then he took his son out of the mix. He tore that up, and he basically created another plan where, upon his passing, the team would be sold, per his wishes. And now the team's obviously going to be sold before then, and he will be in control. You don't have to go through the league office. You're not going through any investment bankers. A lot of these estate sales, it's set up that it's automatically going to go to the highest bidder. That's not the case here. He can control who he sells to. You can't make him sell. Now, obviously, on the back end, any sale will be subject to 2/3 of the ownership approving. But, this idea of, he and Kaepernick, he's not selling to them, and he doesn't have to sell to them. So, a lot of what's out there, I think, is confusing because, again, this is not your typical situation where the league is running point and there's already certain contingencies and it's just going to go to the highest bidder. He can do what he wants on his own terms, again, as long as ultimately the owners approve that person, and that person will still have to be vetted by the league and all that. But it's Richardson steering the ship.
And we don't see that happen very often where an NFL team goes on the market. How attractive do you think the Panthers franchise will be to a bidder?
Very attractive. There's plus and minuses with the stadium, having the stadium ownership. I mean, a lot of people look at that and they say, well, wow, you own a stadium and you own that land. But a stadium is not like a car. It's great when you get that, souped up Mercedes on the lot, but then as soon as you get it off the lot, it's a decreasing asset. It's diminishing returns. You're responsible for all the upkeep, all the maintenance, all the costs that go into that. So stadium is depending on the eye of the beholder and depending if what that person's background is, is it a real estate background? Is there some land around there you might still be able to develop? That's probably, more of an asset to some than others. To other people, it might look more like an albatross. There's the issue the team is only tethered to the city until 2019. That gives you a little bit of leverage, I guess, if you come in there as a new owner and want to saber rattle a little bit and talk about potential moves or what have you. But in general, look, it's a well-supported team. It's a good enough stadium. They just got some recent upgrades there. It's been a successful product. They have stars and they have attractive players who have a national brand like Luke Kuechly and Cam Newton. They play competitive football. I guess the banking infrastructure there, and in terms of the corporate support, maybe not quite as strong as it was, a decade ago. But there's still enough of a business community, and they're enough entrenched that there'll be a lot. Look, if he could just decide he wants to sell to one of his minority owners too. I mean, it could end up being a total inside job. And then there's numerous existing minority owners from other NFL teams, so I know for a fact they're interested. And then there's people who are not in the NFL at all right now, but who have tried to purchase teams recently in the past, whether they be the Browns or the Bills or other teams that have hit the market, who have already been vetted by the league, who have relationships with some of these owners, who would like to get in the mix as well. But again, this is not one that's going to go through Park Avenue, which is very different than how it's normally done.
Jason La Canfora, CBS Sports NFL Insider, joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. Jason, let's spin it back to on the field. Look, the NFC, it's about as competitive as I've seen it in quite a long time. I mean, you could see teams with 10 wins miss the playoffs. I mean, who do you feel like, in your eyes, at this moment, has the best chance to get out of the NFC and get to the Super Bowl?
I'd be lying if I told you I knew. I get asked this question a lot, and to me, I would take the field versus any team because I just don't know how much there's happens. It's like you're splitting atoms between who's better than whom and how this team would face that team. It's going to be a wild race over there. The AFC, let's face it, New England and Pittsburgh are going to be playing again in 3 or 4 weeks, and that's going to settle who goes to the Super Bowl over there. NFC, I don't know, man. I mean, I think Nick Foles will keep the Eagles competitive, but he's obviously not Carson Wentz, Minnesota, you keep waiting for that slipper to fall off, the Cinderella slipper to fall off of Case Keenum's foot, but it hasn't happened yet, and maybe it won't. If Atlanta gets in, they've got a pedigree. They were just there. They'll be dangerous. The Saints have probably been the most balanced, most complete team in a lot of ways, and what I like about the Saints is they can beat you in different ways. Some of these teams, are a little bit one-dimensional, or they can't beat you by running it for 400 or throwing it for 400, but it feels like the Saints can. And obviously, they've got guys on the other side of the ball who are playing at a truly, truly elite level, Cam and Lattimore. So I would not discount the Saints' chances at all, but to me, it's a coin flip all the way around.
Yeah, I agree. To me, the NFC seems like completely wide open. What about the AFC? I'm curious. Do you think it's goes through New England like everybody else? It just seems like that game the other night that Pittsburgh, that was so heartbreaking for them. But I also think maybe Pittsburgh goes into New England now with this huge chip on their shoulders if they get to that point.
I mean, they've had that chip on their shoulder since about 2005, and they just can't win up there. It's their bugaboo. They can't look, I'm not saying it's impossible, but you give New England the guaranteed bye. The other thing about Pittsburgh now, too, is what that game does, and especially with the loss of Antonio Brown for at least the regular season, they can't rest anybody against the Texans and the Browns. They can't take any chances. They got to hold Jacksonville off for a bye because that bye with Antonio Brown is going to be absolutely imperative. So it changes their sort of short-term approach. I mean, not saying that Tom was going to rest a ton of guys, but they don't have – the margins are slim now. They go in as a wild card. All of a sudden, you're really clawing. So I don't know, man. I like New England. I mean, you're going to ask me to bet against Belichick and Brady at home coming off a bye, knowing we win twice at Foxborough and we're going to defend our title again? I have a hard time thinking that, I'm not going to fancy their chances.
Jason La Canfora, NFL Insider for CBS Sports. Hey, Jason, really appreciate the time. Good catching up with you. And I would watch your back because Lee Zurich is now investigating you. He just tweeted it. It's over for you, my friend. It's over. He's digging dirt on you.
Me? I don't have too many skeletons in my closet, I don't think. Although he's got, trust me, he would have. I can think of immediately 2 stories he would have on me.
That's what he said.
It wouldn't be fun. Like,
he
I wouldn't
said
go
the
to jail or
stories,
anything, but it would be ugly.
He said the stories he could tell.
Already?
Yeah.
Just now?
Yes.
Uh-oh, Jason.
There's one that, I mean, I think of freshman year, and I immediately flash back to this one moment. I'm sure he's thinking of the same thing. It involves a box. I'll leave it at that.
You are in big trouble, Jason. Hey, buddy, great catching up with you,
Thanks,
and we'll
Jason.
definitely catch up down the line. Thanks, bud.
You got it, guys. Happy holidays.
You too, Jason. Jason La Canfora, CBS Sports NFL Insider. Can you imagine Jason and Lee Zurich, college kids, running around Syracuse doing God knows what?
Yes, I can.
Yes, you can. I don't want to know. Actually, I'm intrigued.
Glorious.
I want to know. I do want to know.
I know so many Syracuse alums. It's amazing how many broadcasters and journalists that school has turned out.
That's like a journalism pantheon.
That's one of the hubs, man. Syracuse,
Them,
Missouri, Northwestern.
Right.
Louisville.
Louisiana State University for one Larry Holder. Just saying. Just a heads up.
Gonna roll my eyes at that.
Claude is not going with that one. Whoa! What the?
As Jeff throws projectiles.
I just about got drilled in the face.
Yeah.
Jeff tries to throw the football, hits a pipe, and almost drills me in the face here. That's like a YouTube moment.
That's some Louisville education right
I'm
there.
about to be memed, I'm sure. And coming up, a Boston University journalism stud.
Terrier.
Brett the Model Martell. And Dave, I sent you some theme music. You better get it ready for the model. So coming up next, Brett Martell of the Associated Press here on Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder. Dude, you just about drilled me in the face.
Chris Gordy.
It was like the Ian Rappaport thing, like on, remember when you get drilled in the face with the football? It's like, it just happened to me. Like, just happened.
Yeah, literally.
I enjoy you. You have great perspective.
The Chris Gordy Show.
Ruined my life.
Weekday mornings 8 to 10 on Sports 1280.
Bring back the magic. It's over here.
I'm Dave
Oh
Marley,
my God.
president of Marley Drug.
Yeah, dude. It's
Are
over
you
here,
taking
bro.
Viagra? Now you can get sildenafil, the active
It's over
ingredient
there,
in
dog.
Viagra, in generic 20 milligrams for $2 per tablet. That's a savings of $50.
All right, 2.5 minutes.
Oh, yes.
Marley Drug is a
had
North
like
Nerf balls,
Carolina
Nerf
drug
guns.
delivering
Whistler.
Yes.
You,
Oh,
you
the
guys
Whistler.
okay? Stop trying to. You'll shoot
had
your
the,
ass,
Oh,
kid.
man, that thing,
Generics.com
you caught it,
or call
and
us
it would, like,
800
break your hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
The plastic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Nerf with the Nerf ball with the tail in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You could throw it. You could throw it over that there mountain.
You'll find
Like
all
Uncle
kinds
Rico.
of chicken cheesesteaks.
Like Uncle Rico.
Some filling, some bacon, all
Jeff's on
fresh
a
off
hunt
the
for
grill
sweets.
tasty.
Go
Jersey
to
Mike's.
Terry's desk. She'd
Be
try
a side
Yes,
of
Terry probably has. Yeah, absolutely.
candy at least.
Are sold out.
Something sugar based to keep you going.
Music Festival from Las Vegas. 2 nights, 1 stage. Over 20 of the biggest artists on the planet. Celebrated with iHeartRadio fans from around the world.
Yeah, I guess since it's announced now.
2017 iHeartRadio Music
Asher
Festival.
did it.
Coldplay,
Josh did
Thomas
it.
Rhett,
Chris
The
did it.
Weeknd, and more.
Watch for the best of our iHeart Music Festival, Thursday the 28th and Friday the 29th
Yeah.
at 7 p.m. on NOLA 38, the
Yeah.
CW.
When was the last time you walked out of a mattress store feeling confident about your purchase? These places exist for one reason. For a highly trained, commission-driven salesperson to dupe you into spending way too much money on a mattress. Hi, my name is Neil, and I'm one of the co-founders of Casper. Casper was created with a single goal in mind: deliver a great night's sleep at an incredible value. We sell the Casper mattress online, skipping the markups of mattress stores, and we let you try it out in your own home for 100 nights risk-free. In less than 3 years, we've rapidly become the internet's favorite mattress. In fact, it now has more than 20,000 reviews with an average of 4.8 stars. Try us out today.
See for yourself why an independent research study showed Casper mattress owners are 3 times as likely to say they get great sleep. Simply go to Casper.com and use code EVENT to get $50 towards your mattress purchase. Terms and conditions apply. That's gift code EVENT at Casper.com.
All right, we got him. And 30 seconds.
Cool.
Casper.com. Thanks for...
He was very subdued while I was speaking with him. I'm like, you awake, pal? He's like, yeah, I'm good.
Brett's always
joy
subdued,
with the perfect
man.
gift. And
That's him.
That's just how he talks.
Considered his theme music is like a sleepy time lullaby.
buy online and pick
His
up
theme music.
God awful music,
His
making me
theme
play this crap.
music.
even faster than Santa.
Glorious.
Get joy right now at Kohl's. Hours may
Yeah, right.
an offer valid through December 24th with promo code Snowball. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
There's only one theme song that can trump Country Fried Christmas Friday, and it's this. Just take it all in.
I really like this.
Take in
I
the
really do like
arrogance.
this. The saxophone, the thumping
Stuck in
bass.
an elevator.
Take it all in, the arrogance. Of course, that would be the cologne that Brett, the model Martell, wears. Arrogance. Brett, do you realize one time you blinded Jake the Snake Roberts with your cologne? Do you realize that you did that in life? Are you aware? Just a heads up.
Yeah, that was a previous incarnation of me, and I don't remember it at all.
You're blinded by the past, and now you're living it. Brett Martell, the Associated Press, joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. And if you don't realize the reference, it is from Rick the Model Martell from old school WWF days as Jeff is venturing back in the studio,
As he
chewing
always
on, eating
does.
something. I don't know. But that's Brett, you know better. But look, Saints Falcons, big time matchup coming up in the Dome. And Brett, I'm going to be writing this column at some point before Sunday, but I feel like arguably you could say this may be the biggest Saints-Falcons game in the history of their rivalry. Would you kind of subscribe to that logic?
I'm trying to remember one that's bigger. I do feel like they've had some important late-season games in the past.
Maybe the playoff game, that might be it. Outside of the playoff game in the 91 season, but outside of that, I don't know, because all the marbles are on the line here week 16.
Yeah, I mean, what's so interesting about it is that not only are both teams in, they're historical rivals that have almost split 97 previous meetings, and they're both in contention for the division crown, but, one of them is, the defending conference champion who just lost the Super Bowl in overtime, and they're sort of hitting their stride lately, having won 5 out of 6. So, there's a lot riding on it, especially with New Orleans appearing to be kind of, getting back in the mix among the NFC's elite teams after 3 really mediocre and disappointing seasons. So, I mean, if you take all that context into account, I think that it does really raise the stakes. Where the fan base in our area that's really hungry to get back to where they were. Between 2009 and 2013, and Atlanta trying, in kind of a redemption mode maybe for that epic breakdown.
The old collapse, old 28-3.
Yeah. So it's funny. I was just watching. I don't know if your readers might not know I'm from New England, and I watch all the Boston Bruins games, and in between periods they were showing the Bruins' wives doing some charitable thing for Christmas tree decorations, and one of the things was a 28-3 score with, I don't know, it was about 3 minutes left in the third quarter or something like that was hanging off one of their Christmas trees, and kind of cracked me up.
Brett, quick question. I mean, we've asked this to other people on the program. We all expect the Saints to make it into the playoffs, barring some kind of late season meltdown here. They'd probably have to lose both games to not make it. But what's your biggest concern with this team going forward? Say they do make it to the postseason. What concerns you about their chances of maybe making a deep run?
Just having lost productive starters at all 3 levels of the defense in the last 5 weeks. Starting with Alex Okafor, who had been really solid. I mean, he had 4.5 sacks, I believe. Wasn't necessarily tearing it up, but I think he had just, his influence on the pass rush was considerable. And then, a few weeks later, your middle linebacker, who's the primary pre-snap signal caller for the defense, goes down. And then, this week he's on IR, and now, Vaccaro. Now, he might, in some ways, because he was already playing hurt, it's unclear how much his absence will really hurt them. But it's basically, veteran leaders at each position group and starters on a defense that had really improved dramatically. I mean, from 31st last year, they're, I think, 11th right now. So that could be a weakness when you get into the playoffs and you're facing, better quarterbacks, better offenses that can expose your weaknesses.
Brett Martell of the Associated Press joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. Brett, you look at the way that the Saints have kind of pulled themselves out of the abyss from the past 3 seasons of just mediocre play and to where they are now. Do you feel like, even though throughout these injuries and they've gotten to this point, do you feel like they get to the playoffs and they've got maybe as good a shot as anyone, or do you feel like they only can get to a certain point, say the divisional round, and that might be the end for them?
I would, I have a hard time seeing them going on the road, there's still a lot to play out over these last 2 weeks. I mean, I think we have to see how some of the young guys respond on defense, and what happens with the other teams. I mean, there's no guarantee that the other teams will be the same teams they are now when they make it to the playoffs. They could have setbacks too. I mean, Philadelphia's already had a huge one. Minnesota's had many and could have more. So who knows? But it just looks to me like they, as long as they have some of their key guys on offense, you can never count them out. But they just haven't strung together quite enough really convincing wins. Although they had some good wins, but most of those are over teams that have struggled, to show me that they can really go on the road against one of the elite teams in the NFC in a playoff environment and be a favorite.
Brett, switching gears, let's talk Pelicans real quick. They've got a game tonight, and they've dropped 2 in a row. Last one to Washington on Wednesday night, and they're hovering right around 500. Seems like they've beaten most of the teams that they should beat and lost to a lot of the teams that you would think they would lose to. What are we to think of this team? I mean, Larry and I talk about it on the program all the time. It seems like you can take a glass half full approach with them or a glass half empty. What do you think? Why should Pelicans fans be encouraged by what they've seen so far?
Well, I don't know about encouraged, but they should be interested because it might be one of the most compelling 500 teams in the history of the NBA.
That's true.
Because they have such enormous potential to go through these amazing stretches when everyone's playing well and can inexplicably go into a funk. And, it's just kind of weird. I mean, a lot of 500 teams, they're winning or losing a lot of tight games and tend to be kind of scrappy and have they have talent, but a slight talent deficit next to the elite teams. And this is a team that has some really elite talent, but maybe not spread out the right way across the roster where they can, just have some monster quarters, monster halves, monster games, and then just kind of go away. And you really don't know what you're going to get for them. That game in Washington was crazy. That was a microcosm of their season. They were losing by something like 25, 26 points in the second quarter. And it's like you go away for 5 minutes and you come back early in the third quarter and it's tied. And then at the end of the third quarter, they're losing by 23.
Yeah.
So they're all over the map. And so I think, until they can become more consistent, you just don't know what you're going to get from them. So, the reasons to be encouraged is when they're playing well, you see the potential they have. When they blew double-digit leads in the second half in a span of about 5 out of 7 losses, I believe it was recently, you have to get a double-digit lead to blow a double-digit lead. So it's not like they're not competitive, but I'm sure it can be very maddening for fans who see their potential and wonder why they can't fulfill it consistently.
Brett Martell of the Associated Press. Hey, Brett, appreciate the time as always, my friend, and I hope you're not going to get your wife or your daughter any arrogance cologne. Like I said, it's poisonous and it blinds people, so don't do it. Just a heads up.
Yeah, I don't wear that anymore. Yeah.
Anymore. See, he did. He used to back in his days when he was. And here's what's even better, since you are a New Englander and Boston U alum, do you realize that Rick the Model Martell's finishing move when he would crush opponents was the Boston Crab? No joke. Boston Crab.
Yep, I remember that.
In your whole life.
You two are the only ones.
I think that actually his manager's real name was Martell, and so he adopted that as his stage name for wrestling.
Nah, his manager was Slick. So sorry.
But
one name, Slick.
So
yeah, he is French Canadian. This is true. So Brett.
Yeah, and Martell's like a French Canadian name.
Exactly. Yeah. See, so he really was him, Jeff. Jeff is shaking his head. What are you shaking your head about?
So we can't talk soccer on this show, or we can talk wrestling, pro wrestling.
Amen. One thing that's real, the other thing that's not.
Wrestling's real. You get hurt.
Yeah, it's real.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
just because it's whatever. I'm not getting this debate.
It's fake sports.
There we go, Brett.
Before every matchup, I pump up with this arrogance. It's today's man in a classic can. The fragrance that overwhelms, and pins down the competition.
That's why Dave's the best in American history. There you go, Brett. See, your old days of promoting Arrogance Cologne. I'm glad you're past that. All right, Brett. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right, try not to confuse the audience too much. See you later.
I think Jeff's mind is blown, boggled.
It is.
He has no idea what's
Melted
going on.
down.
So we can pinpoint 11:34 a.m. as Shenanigans Friday really started.
I mean, we've got Hootie singing country. We've got Brett doing his old commercials
And
for
Christmas
Cologne.
music.
It's when the program officially went off the rails.
Do you realize it went off the
11:35.
rails the first day we were ever on the air?
Kind of true.
Speaking of,
Ding, ding, ding.
when we get back, why don't we lay out our new format that's coming? It's going to be some good times.
Let's do that. We
here
need
at
to
the
make our
station.
NFL picks.
And
at
we
some
make
point.
our NFL picks, lock of the week, fantasy stud of the week. It's Super Bowl for most leagues, unlike Jeff's weird league who does it at week 17. It's bizarre. And our upset of the week, so we'll give all that coming up next here. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder. Dave, that was tremendous.
Your forecast.
I'm telling you, that thumping bass is getting me. It's like,
the arrogance promo.
Yeah.
From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm
Oh, you know what?
The whole time y'all were talking, I had the studio door open. And I was sitting in front of my computer trying to pull the audio and edit it and get it in the system. Got it done in like 2.5 minutes. I'm like, yeah.
70s near
So this is
80
Terrace
this
Marshall,
afternoon,
guys.
which could make for a warm one.
We
But
should
cooler temperatures are in store for the weekend.
He's the
We'll
one
see
that-
some
yeah,
showers
that'll
across
help
the
us.
area
Out of the street
for your
post.
Saturday morning, and then a cold front moves through. From the Fox 8 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shelby Latina.
All right, 2 minutes.
Day.
Jazz is more than music. Gumbo is more than soup. And the new Armstrong International is more than an airport. From touchdown to takeoff, it will be a destination in its own right. The new Armstrong International Airport, where New Orleans takes flight, arriving 2019.
Got any music lovers on your holiday list? You can get them the perfect gift in less than a minute. Quello Concerts. With Quello, they can watch
We almost went a
thousands
couple
of the
days
best
without cursing.
concerts and music
forgot
documentaries
that,
on a smart TV,
the
like a
Broadway's
Roku
in
TV,
New
or
Orleans
on the
season
go.
tickets go on
Quello's got
Saturday. I was
everything
gonna
from Elvis to Springsteen,
tickets.
Bowie to Beyonce,
looking at
Pink
Broadway,
Floyd, The
New
Who,
Orleans.
and
I'm
so
looking
much
at
more. In just
Kendra
1
Scott
minute, you
Jewel.
can give the perfect gift they'll use all year long.
We do
Go to
have some
Q-
Yeah. And they both say different things
and
about
get
you,
the
so it's
gift
fine.
Music lovers
One is
really
I'm
want.
going to try to surprise
When
my wife
athletes
with
push
something that
themselves
she
to
loves
reach their
Kendra Scott.
potential, they're not just working hard, they're
Nah,
giving
that's-
their all.
that's
With
weak,
its
like as
accuracy
of
and
last
reliability, Polar's line of running watches, fitness trackers,
wait,
and
that's the
heart
place
rate
up
monitors
near-
will help you smash your personal best
right, like your
again
kids.
and
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, I
Polar's
see, that's like a
technology
high- that's the
ecosystem
high
is your
most.
personal
No,
round-the-clock coach.
Nice.
Make the
This is
most
like
of
a
your training
nice
with
trendy-
detailed, accurate
Yeah, it's a
data
trendy
and
crap.
guidance. Don't just
Yeah, I
train
mean, I always
hard,
walk by there
train
like-
smart. Chase your destiny with Polar.
I'm
Visit
assuming when I go in there,
polar.com
it will
today.
be a
When was the
complete
last
soup.
time you walked out of a mattress store feeling
Bruising
confident about
people,
your purchase?
like
These
people like
places
me, like
exist for
last-minute
one
shoppers.
reason: for a highly trained, commission-driven salesperson to dupe you into spending way too much money on a mattress. Hi,
Rent
my
is
name is
coming
Neil,
here.
and I'm one of the co-founders of
Next
Casper.
season, all
Casper
over
was
there.
created with a
20th
single goal in
anniversary.
mind:
525,
deliver a great night's sleep at an
600
incredible
minutes.
value.
Awesome.
We sell the
I've seen it
Casper
like
mattress
6 or 7
online,
times.
skipping
All right, 30 seconds.
and we
You know
let you
what's a
try it
better
out in your
rendition
own
of Rent
home
is
for
the
100
one that's
nights
on at the
risk-free.
beginning of
In
Team
less than
America
3
World
years,
Police.
we've rapidly become the internet's favorite mattress.
America.
Everyone
Reviews
has
with an average
AIDS.
of
Your
4.8
Pope and your
stars.
grandma.
Try us out
AIDS,
today.
AIDS, 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 AIDS,
Study
AIDS,
showed
AIDS.
Casper mattress owners are
What's
3
going on
times
here,
as
bro?
likely to say they get great sleep. Simply go to Casper.com and use code
Oh, look, we got some more Hootie.
your mattress.
Yeah.
Terms and conditions apply.
Once was enough.
Code event
No.
at
All
No,
Hootie
you
all
wait till
the
you hear
time.
this.
Yeah.
towards your mattress purchase.
It's good.
Casper
I didn't even know this song existed.
taking us out.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Our insiders are talking your teams. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
You're as cuddly as a cactus. You're as charming as an eel.
This can't be real.
How awesome is that?
Hootie singing the Grinch.
It is a new Christmas classic.
It very much
We
is.
are going to make this a hit here on Dunc and Holder.
No, we're not.
You
Because it
act
wasn't
like-
because it wasn't a hit before, probably.
Do you
I didn't know
realize-
about it.
Do you realize Dunc and Holder is the name of the show? Clyde's not in the name. I mean, we'll
He's
do
got a
it.
show. It's called Keep It Quiet, Clyde.
It's 2 hours of silence.
This is such a festive holiday spirit here.
Oh,
Everyone's just
man.
ripping the hell out of
Appropriately,
everyone.
the Grinch.
Exactly.
I know what I'm thankful for this Christmas.
What's that?
When 12 o'clock hits, the show's over.
Ah, Clyde. There's a door right there. You can leave anytime you want.
I thought about that, but then I really don't want to go back and do real work.
But then YouTube feed would fade out. It would be a total disaster. But look, new lineup coming up here on Sports 1280 in what, a couple weeks?
Yes.
We are going to might as well start it from the bottom up. Let's start from Josh Ennis will be from 6 to 10 a.m. Then, of course, we are not going anywhere, Duncan Holder. And joining us on Sports 1280, good buddy of ours, Eric Asher will be joining us from noon to 2 and bringing his wide scope show. Of course, he's been on the airwaves for as long as I've ever done radio, because he's the one who actually got me into radio back in the old 690 days. And look, I'm fired up for Eric.
That's great news.
Brings it like it is, brings us more local talk, everything you want to hear, and we're fired up about having Eric Asher coming up in a couple weeks.
Yes, I mean, bolstering the local lineup here, and Eric, of course, is a tried and true New Orleanian. I mean, he loves the city and defends the city to the core, and we're very excited to have Eric on our lineup, and hopefully we'll lead right into his show, and everybody will tune in all day to 1280 because we've got this awesome lineup now.
No doubt, and
it
actually
really is a tune in and rip off the dial scenario.
Yeah. Rip it off, just throw it away in the trash, and then that's not a good segue. But anyway, following Eric Asher will be Chris Gordy. He's not going anywhere. He'll be on from 2 to 4. Of course, Chris, I mean, he's had guests like Alvin Kamara and Cam Jordan. He's trying to beat us out on guests, damn it. We got to do a better job.
Yeah, he does. He hustles, man. He gets a lot of good guests on his show, and more power to him. I mean, he's forged an identity here in New Orleans.
Absolutely. And then from 4 to 6, Corey Johnson. So we'll be local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can't find that anywhere in the city, obviously, so doing some big things here at Sports 1280. So good job, Jeff. Way to go. Way to keep the train going.
It's exciting that we're still on the air.
It is. It's thrilling and frightening at the same time.
Has not come in and rated us. And
do you know the beginning of the year is coming? I mean, we could easily get that end of the year. Why don't you guys have a seat?
Yeah, and if a couple people on either in this set or on this show keeps cursing during the breaks, it's gonna come quicker.
Who is this guy?
This is the Grinch.
Just because YouTube, you could say whatever you want on YouTube.
I mean, you can, but you can't, advertisers and things like that,
This guy's worried about our advertisers.
Well, if you'd stop antagonizing me, Clyde.
Right, exactly. It's your fault.
Never.
Anywho.
Oh, what are we doing? We could do our NFL picks. What are we doing?
Yes.
Well, why don't we – hey, Dave, why don't we take a final break here and get an extended final segment? And, so why don't we do that?
And don't forget, Terrace Marshall, big receiver out of Shreveport, is going to pick his school, I think, at 2:30 today. 2:30 today, and I think LSU's in the mix, right?
LSU versus A&M, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Exactly. So, look, that will bolster the early class, and we'll be anticipating that. But one more segment here. Get our lock of the week, fantasy stud of the week, upset of the week, and our Saints-Falcons prediction. So come on back. One more segment here. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Duncan Holder.
For Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Can I make a request, Dave, of Johnny Mathis?
It was a darker time.
Of what?
Johnny Mathis, Sleigh Ride.
Oh, look at you, man. You're trying to make me dig deep in the vault.
Yes. Only the greatest Christmas song ever.
The day of reckoning approaches. Keep listening to Sports 1280 New Orleans to learn when the shearing of Larry Holder will commence.
When athletes push themselves to reach their potential,
they're
not just working hard, they're giving their all. With its accuracy and reliability, Polar's line of running watches, fitness trackers, and heart rate monitors will help you smash your personal best again and again. Polar's technology ecosystem is your personal
There's only one that's even remotely pretend under 3, and that's the Cowboys in Seattle.
Train smart. Chase your destiny with Polar. Visit Polar.com today.
There's 2 Saturday games.
It's order pickup time all the time at Target.
And then you've got 2 games on Monday.
With a cup of hot cocoa to check things off your ever-growing wish list at Target.com.
Yeah, you've got Steelers, Texans, and Raiders, Eagles.
Big this holiday season. Beat the crowds and skip the lines, you savvy savers. Order pickup is the quickest Target run you're ever gonna make. Get in, get out, and go on your Merry Christmas way. Order online at Target.com and pick up in store. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
In the hands of a kid, a simple toy transforms into something magical. Toys help unlock the silly, goofy, inventive minds of kids. At Toys R Us, we do everything we can to make sure every kid has a toy to play with, because nothing should get in the way of play. So if you find a better price somewhere else, we'll match it. And when we do, we'll donate an additional $1 to Toys for Tots, up to $1
pay that money to see Hamilton play.
Every kid has a right to play. The price match promise from Toys R Us.
We have a special guest on the line.
Exclusions apply. See Toys R Us.
Well, you should be. It's Whistle Monster.
Against cancer.
Oh, shoot. We're all taking off our headsets then.
Yeah, right, huh? And blow out the speakers.
Getting to and from treatment is one of their toughest challenges.
Yeah, I think this is the first time he's called us, huh?
No, he called us before.
Dear
Oh, like
YouTubers,
right at the
turn
very
your
beginning,
volume
huh?
down to the lowest setting right
In
now.
your car, you can help patients take one more step in the road to recovery. Get in the driver's
He could just be calling to wish us a Merry Christmas.
Also true. Also true.
You're so paranoid, Jeffrey. How do you live life like that?
No, the reason I say that is because somebody asked me in the business the other day for his contact information.
Oh, okay.
With the Saints. So there's got to be something going on.
At Lakeside Shopping.
All right, here we go.
I may be wrong.
Visit lakesideshopping.com for extended holiday hours.
You wrong, never.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Just hear those sleigh bells jingling, ring, ting, tingling too.
Dunc and Holder now. Josh Shinnis next at noon on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
There you go, Jeffrey.
Awesome.
One more segment here on Dunc and Holder. If you missed any of the show, sports1280.com, NOLA.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube page. And we've got a special guest on the line. He is maybe more infamous than you and me, Jeff. It's Whistle Monster on the line. What's up, my friend?
Larry? What up, Jeffrey?
What is happening? Whistle.
How you guys doing, man? I'm running around in Metairie trying to find a Christmas tree, man. My wife is going to kill me. I know it's a little late, but
a little late.
The gas playing got me all panicky, bro. And I'm like,
you do realize
I got one I'm headed to go get.
You do realize there's a Christmas tree shortage, right? There, you might be toast. You might be getting like a bush.
I think it's a combination of me being late too. But anywho, look at this team, boys. How about them Saints, baby?
What do you think, Whistle? What do you think on Sunday?
I'm scared to death, man. What do you think? I'm a human. I mean, I want to win, of course, but anybody can beat anybody on any day. In my heart and in my soul, guys, I feel that we're better than this team. We could have won. I got a lot from the last game. The truth is, the last game, I feel like we shouldn't have even been in the game with all the stuff that happened to us. You guys got the right stats. Probably 7 or 8 people hurt. Kamara's gone. Oh, Jesus Christ. Ambulance coming on our attention right here. Okay. But Kamara getting knocked out, right? I don't know he getting knocked out. We got all these people hurt. And we still, with a minute and something in it, we still almost win the game. 2 things happened. A guy made a heck of a play, and we got to shut him down and let him know what's going down on Poydras Street. That's the first thing we need to do before anything, is when somebody needs to make sure that he getting hit every play. I don't care. It could be legal, and people hit people in football. That's what they do. Make sure that he knows he's going to get hit. Make sure he's looking and not just sitting around staring at Drew's eyes all day long. And secondly, nobody's more upset than Drew, folks, that he didn't get the check down marking. That doesn't matter. We still have third stringers that were playing in that game, and probably people that we'd had another punter or kicker fill in for somebody, and we were still in the game at Atlanta. So I love us in this game, but I'm still human, and I'm still nervous. But I tell you one thing, it's my goal to make sure they can't hear bleep on Poydras Street Sunday, bro.
I feel like the Saints fans are going to come out and be Spitfire and Venom, and that place is going to be ears bleedingly loud. I assume that.
What I'm going to try and do is make sure that I get everybody to feel like, remember how we felt when we opened up the doors for Katrina? After Katrina opened up the dome for the first time, we need that energy, bro, because it could have been anybody who was standing up on the other side. They were going down that day, bro.
All right, Whistle. Well, good luck with the tree. You probably will find
you're
nothing.
Right. I hope so, man. But I love you two guys. I love what you're doing, man. I'm always in the car. Can't always call, but I love you cats. Beat them Falcons.
There you go. That's Whistle Monster. Always a good buddy, longtime buddy of us here at Dunc and Holder. And
I think that might have been the coolest moment of the show.
I think Whistle's going to end up at this stage, this late in the game, Christmas tree shopping. He's going to end up with one of those
he's going to find a
Charlie
cactus.
Brown trees.
It's a cactus he's going to find.
Remember the Charlie Brown, like the little stick that he got? That's what he's going to end up with.
Poor Whistle.
As one of our good friend YouTubers, Rip LaBeouf, says, go get a fake tree and get some pine-scented ornaments. I think that's a fantastic
You can
idea.
always just go get a fake tree.
I think that's a fantastic idea because at the end of the day, I mean, you just got to make do with something, Brad. Just put something up.
Exactly. Poor Whistle, not getting it done. Not the smartest idea.
Well, he's probably busy prepping for Sunday and the den that is going to be the Superdome because it is going to be incredibly loud. We know that the environment, I know that the Falcons all week long have worked with crowd noise, and we all know that they
like to pump that in.
They know how to artificially simulate crowd noise.
They've got that on loop, I'm sure, in the facility, no problem.
Yeah, but the Falcons have not blown a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl of fake crowd noise.
Oh, Clyde. Always got to come back to 28-3.
Holler.
Oh, Clyde.
It's going to be an incredible environment. I'm really looking forward to that game. I think everybody's going to be there early. It's not going to be like the typical New Orleans wandering into the dome right before kickoff. People are going to be in their seats and loud early.
People know how important this is. There's no question about it. But, all right, lock of the week, upset of the week, fantasy stud of the week, and then we will give our Saints prediction in the final segment leading up to high noon. So, Jeff, what you got with your lock of the week?
Well, there's a lot. We were just talking during the break. There's a lot of lopsided games this week, a lot of almost 10-point spreads. I mean, it's just I guess you got a lot of teams that are still in the playoff hunt playing a lot of teams that are out. So that always makes for lopsided motivation. And I'm going to pick one of those games for my lock. I think the Steelers, they're going to have to get over that hangover from losing to the Patriots. But they play at the Texans minus 9.5. And right now there's a lot of speculation that Bill O'Brien might be out at Houston. I think that always kind of leads to a lack of motivation as well. We've seen it happen in Cincinnati now with the Bengals. So I like the Steelers, minus 9.5.
Yeah, the Bengals haven't exactly been playing for Marvin Lewis since it's rumored and pretty much a certainty that he will be out. All right, Clyde, your lock of the week. What you got?
Lock of the week, obviously, for me, is going to be the first game out of the chute this weekend. Baltimore, 12.5-point favorite over Indianapolis. Indianapolis is just a sinking ship right now. Obviously, the uncertainty around Andrew Luck, what his situation is, the Colts as an organization. So I'm going with Baltimore in this one.
My lock of the week, it's going to be unfortunate for Saints fans. It's Carolina against Tampa.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's fair.
9.5, 10-point favorite. I think Carolina's going to win that. I think Tampa's toast.
Even after how they played last week?
But I don't think Atlanta's that good. So I think Carolina at home, they got plenty to play for. I think despite the adversity with Jerry Richardson and all that, I don't think the players are even paying attention to that. I think they're a lock of the week. All right, upset of the week. We'll start with you, Jeff. What you got?
Wait, I'm trying to find it here.
What? You're supposed to have it already. What's the matter with you?
I like the Tennessee Titans to beat the Rams, which will help
Dang
the Saints
it.
cause.
What?
I love that game.
You have them beating them straight up?
All right, look, the Rams just had this huge win against Seattle, right?
Right.
There's the natural letdown. Now they got to fly across the country, play in Nashville against a Titans team that has to win. I love that. It's a very much a trap game, but it's not a trap game because Tennessee's good. I think Tennessee's 5-1 at home this year. I love the Titans in that game.
See the trap fall into the trap. Jeff just fell into the trap. Clyde, what you got?
For my upset, I'm going with Cincinnati pulling off an upset against Detroit.
Didn't we just talk about that they're in the tank?
Yes, they are in the
There
tank,
we
but they're
go.
not in the tank of the Browns. I mean, at 3.5, what? Oh, as Jeff throws more projectiles. That's. I'm
And
going.
our man
I'm going
Grunge, David Grunfeld, giving us a little cameo appearance here at Dunc and Holder. There we go.
We were just talking, by the way, Grunge. We were just talking Syracuse with Jason La Canfora, and he was telling stories. He went to school with Lee Zurich as a freshman.
They were roommates. Did you know that?
So we were talking Q's.
And
make you proud.
Anyway.
Hey, Tim Green.
There's the grunge from afar. He's like the disembodied voice from above.
If you get a chance and you're online right now, call up David Grunfeld's gallery yesterday of foggy New Orleans.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Beautiful photos of the city, as always, because the grunge is a stud.
What we call about David Grunfeld, we just say one word: dominate, and that's what we do.
Yes, very much.
Absolutely.
Dominate.
Complete upset.
There you go.
So you walk in the studio, you just get nothing but love.
Exactly.
Duncan, Holder, and Burdan.
Others get some venom, not the grunge. All right, so you're going with Cincinnati, Clyde.
And a failed pick.
What? On planet Earth are you
We'll see.
thinking?
We'll see.
You know where I'm going? Upset of the week. Cleveland is going to upset the Bears.
I like that pick. They've got to get
4
a
minutes.
Gonna happen.
I like that pick.
Not 0-16. They're gonna win straight up. Not even just cover. It's 6.5. Straight up.
Nah. See, I almost thought about going with that one, but I don't know how you can feel comfortable even in this situation. In fact, I think there's a story right now on ESPN that talks about, or at least that delves into the latest mishaps by the Browns organization again, about how this whole season came to be again, and about Hugh and is going to be the head coach and all that kind of stuff. I just don't see how you can pick them. I'm sorry.
Well, I just did it, so that's how. So there you go.
All right.
Too bad.
Fantasy football, which is big because we're all in fantasy football playoff mode right now.
I am in 3 leagues, 3 finals, so I'm going to be a nervous damn wreck all weekend. So, fantasy stud, let's start with you, Jeff. You're in the semis because you're in a weird league that actually plays week 17. That means all the great players are going to sit week 17, and you're going to be in big trouble.
No, not this year because there's too many games on the line.
Too many games on the line, yeah.
Yeah, this is a great year to be going to the last weekend. But Ezekiel Elliott returns for the Cowboys.
That's a good pick.
I love
it's a really good pick.
Have a big breakout game. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder. He's going to have fresh legs against Seattle.
All right, Clyde, fantasy stud of the week. What you got?
I'm going with Case Keenum. I know we talked about him a little bit earlier. Obviously, Jason talked about him. Obviously, Green Bay has folded it up, bringing Aaron Rodgers off the shelf and putting him back on the shelf. They've got nothing to play for. They're out of it for the first time in a while. So I'm going with Case Keenum to absolutely go off on the Packers this weekend.
I am going to go Alvin Kamara.
Nice.
Did
That's
not play except for one series against the Falcons. I don't think he's going to get beat up and taken out of the game. I don't think the Falcons are going to know what hit him with Alvin Kamara.
I think he's going to make Deion Jones miss in the open field a lot because Deion Jones goes for those blow-up hits all the time. Can't do that against Alvin Kamara.
So I'm going with Alvin Kamara.
I like that pick.
And because I have him on all 3 of my fantasy teams, I need him to be a stud.
Real quick, though.
Hashtag no one cares about your fantasy
team. What are
team.
our picks for the Saints? I've got the Saints winning 30-20. I think it's going to be closer than that, but I think they pull away late.
Clyde, what you got?
It's better than some of the guys. Just a quick shout out to some of the guys. They think it's going to be a rout. I mean, we're talking 41-17 and like 41-10. Yeah, Dennis predicts 41-13 for the Saints, and then we have 45-17 Saints by JGPJ30.
103-2 Saints.
Yeah. But I agree with Jeff. I think for me, these games are always going to be weird. There's always going to be something strange that happens. We saw that on Thursday night. We'll see it again. I think it's going to be one of those, kind of chair-grabbing games. I say Saints 27, Falcons 24.
I'm going Saints 24, Falcons 20. I do think it's going to be a tight, kind of like a 20-17 type of game. But I think the Saints pull it out, and I think that the atmosphere will hinder the Falcons. Matt Ryan will throw some more picks, and I think that's the way it's going to be.
According to PFF, real quick, the second highest graded quarterback of the season so far, Matt Ryan. Number 1's Tom Brady.
30.
Yeah, so what?
Happy holidays to you all.
Absolutely.
Hey, happy holiday, guys.
Great show. Great year. No show on Monday. We will be back Tuesday to talk Saints, Falcons, and everything else that's happened. So happy holidays for everyone. Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa.
20.
Happy Passover. I don't know the rest of the
Festivus
holidays.
for the rest of us.
That too. So coming up next, Josh Innes. For Jeff, for Clyde,
10.
For me, happy holidays, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back on Tuesday. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Duncan Holder.
was the last time you walked
Thanks,
out of a
Dave.
mattress?
All right, guys. Have a Merry Christmas.
You too, bud.
You too. Even you, Clyde.
Thanks.
Oh, wow. It is Christmas spirit is here.
Dupe you into spending way too much money on a mattress. Hi, my name is Neil, and I'm one of the co-founders of Casper. Casper was created with a single goal in mind: